Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Letty Outs here. It is Wednesday, and the Raptors beat the Bulls. Yeah! Wow! 905 lost to the Maine Celtics, though. Today, the Maine Celtics play the Raptors 905 once again on the second day of a back-to-back in Mississauga's Paramount Fine Food Center, 7:30. I'll have the ref report for that. Actually, let's just do it right now. Let's get it out of the way. The refs for today's 905 game are Brent Haskell, crew chief number 34. Bianca Burns, number 22, is the referee. And Castine Evans, number 11, is the umpire. Of course, the 905 choked that game and lost. They had their chances. They had their opportunities. They were down for a lot of the game. They came back. They were making it real close. Justice Winslow had a career high in the G League, but still not enough to win. But we'll talk about that more. Of course, we're going to go over the game in Chicago last night. A fantastic, fun game that had a very nice outcome, and was pleasant to see the Raptors be on the winning side of things once again. So, yeah, there's some fun stuff to talk about with that. All right, let's just jump into the comments. Let's see what you guys are saying this morning. First, it's Gerald Naco the Nacho first in this morning, saying the Bulls look like they were really respecting Scotty. What do you mean? Like, watching out for him, guarding him? One of the biggest things about Scott is, and they said it in the broadcast last night, is that Pascal's gone. And everybody's going to come and see him first. So everything that he's doing now is harder. It's like he's going to get more of the double teams. He's getting the top defender on the other side. So in some ways, his efficiency and his shot percentage going down since he became top dog like this and Pascal's exit is natural. It's something natural. In some ways, he has a learning curve. In fact, I would say this. Scotty, in some ways, is doing this easier and better than most people when they go through this adjustment. Like, I could say this right now. In some ways, he should be really shitty right now, because most of the time when somebody gets adjusted to being the number one person that has to be guarded, they usually go through a really tough learning curve. Like, they miss way more and they fail and they just don't do well. Well, Scotty's not failing. He's actually still producing. He's actually still going in there and making the baskets, even with the extra coverage, the extra physicality, the extra double teams, the extra better defender on him. And that's impressive. That is impressive to me, because I seen it when Siakam became the number one guy and he was the guy we're going through the offense. He struggled with the extra attention when he started getting it for the first time. He did. He struggled. It took a little while of a learning curve to figure out how to score, being the primary option and the focal point of the other team's defense. So good job, Scott. You are above and beyond and doing amazing things, considering that you are the new focal point for how people are going to design their defenses against us. And in some ways, you're showing well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to get mine one way or another, whether it's just pure hard work, busting my butt on the court. There was that one play where he tipped it back in. It was still on the cylinder. I was like, I was not mad at that. Neither was Alvin. I was like, I'm not mad at that. Yeah, that's fine. He showed the effort. He may have gotten robbed from the points, but it was still technically sitting on the rim. But that effort that we're seeing from Scott is amazing. In fact, we saw great effort from a lot of the Raptors last night. It's part of the reason why we won. We out-rebounded them. That was part of the reason why we won. We outshot them. That was part of the reason why we won. I'm starting to see a new trend with the Raptors and Gary Trent. The last two games we won, Miami and Chicago, Gary Trent Jr. went off and scored like crazy. So, Gary, you're a big part of whether we're going to win or not. If you're going to hit your shot like you did last night and you did against Miami, well, we're going to win. But when you don't show up, when you are not exactly right, well, we're going to lose. We need the Gary effect. We need the Gary hitting the threes effect for us to get the W's, is what I'm seeing right now. The last two games that we won, Gary was the player of the game and absolutely shot the lights out and kicked some major ass. So there you go. In some ways, getting Gary going and getting him scoring and hitting a bunch of threes is a key to victory right there, because it's indicative. In the last 2 victories, he was a huge, huge part of why. So yeah, my number 1 star is Gary Trent Jr. Gary was awesome. He was man, I'm so proud of Gary. In some ways, he's kind of coming out on the other side now with Siakam and Anunoby gone. In some ways, things have cleared up a lot better with the spacing. In fact, Gary kind of mentioned it in the post game interview, talking about how, with Jonte out and they went smaller. Well, the space was a little bit better and easier. Gary was 6 of 11 from 3 last night, 9 of 15 overall, 24 points, a plus 12. 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, 32 minutes. Gary is just looking for those shots when they come down the court and they're passing it all around. The drive and kick is really in full effect. We see Dennis or Scott go inside, stir it up, and boom, the ball comes and finds him outside open, and bam, he nails the shot. That is exactly what we needed, Gary. This is exactly what we needed. Jordan Bolton noting on Twitter that Gary Trent Jr. is on the down low, having his best 3-point shooting season of his career. And in some ways, the stats don't lie. Y'all threw it in my face the other day when I was criticizing Gary. You said, well, he's shooting over 40% from 3, and that's a benchmark that kind of shows that he's a badass. All right. Well, I'm not complaining about Gary today. That's for damn sure. You keep going, Gary Trent Jr. We love you. I want you to stay a Raptor for a long time. I know you like getting those passes from Scotty and nailing those threes. So just let's keep this going. You just got to play at a high level and keep doing what you're doing. Man, we will live and die with you, my man. We just need you to play really, really well, Gary. Oh, my gosh. Chris is here. Good to see Chris. He's saying he played with force, but the finish is not there. I thought it was the backcourt in Dennis, Brown, and Gary that won this one. Nwora keeps rolling. Yeah, Scotty did play with some force. He played with some tenacity. He played with some get after it. There were a lot of good things that Scotty was doing in the game. And you're saying that you think it was the backcourt was the factor in this one. Well, let me keep doing my stars, and maybe that will reveal some of the things I think about in this game. My second star of the game is Thad Young. Thad Young had one of his most efficient games as a Raptor ever. 8 of 13 from the field, 16 points. 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 turnover, plus 15. That was amazing. In some ways, the two men are working off of each other with Thaddeus and Scotty is amazing. There's just this natural chemistry, a natural understanding of each other. And these little flip passes, these little bounce passes in the lane where Scotty hits Thaddeus all of a sudden are awesome. And Thaddeus is finishing really well around the basket with his left hand. I have to also say that Thad did a great job trying to stymie and slow down Vucevic last night. Vucevic was a factor in early with threes, and he was being a little bit dominant inside, but not as much as he could have been. And honestly, it's a fail by Billy Donovan that he did not utilize Nikola Vucevic against us more and beat us up like he did in the last time we played them. No, he didn't go there as much. It was interesting. I feel like Thad Young and the help of the other guys too was very effective. In fact, our Raptors team has done a really good job in the last week of going over stuff in practice and talking in film sessions and figuring out their defense and their rebounding. We saw a marked improvement with the boxing out and getting the rebounds. That we've been one of the worst rebounding teams since Pascal and OG left, but the guys put the effort in. They got connected and they figured it all out. And boom, there you go. We win the rebounding battle. We win the game, and the defense looks way better too. So yeah, good job with all that. I say Thad Young is a big part of it because he's playing the tough position. He even admitted after the game in his interview that he's not a center. He gave a tell in the middle of it. He's like, sometimes I have to play against guards. Sometimes I have to play against the center. I like to play against my own position is kind of what he said. So yeah, he admitted he's not truly a center, but he's out there playing against centers and being effective. So Thad Young's my second star of the game in the one yesterday. My third star is Jordan Nwora. Jordan Nwora has been such a shot in the arm in the last two games off the bench. In fact, you guys are saying we got a bench mob. I'm saying I don't know if we got a bench mob or just a bench man, because in some ways it's all centered around him and his wild hair. Nwora, 19 minutes, 17 points. You got to love the points per minute production. 5 of 7 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3. Money man at the 3 line. Wow. I said this before. I was like, Jordan could hit threes. And boy, is he making me look good now. Boy, is he ever. 2 rebounds, 1 block, a -6. Yeah, Jordan's just a shot in the arm. Once again, if we're kind of flagging, kind of lagging in the game, not doing all like things exactly right, things are kind of weird. Well, Jordan comes in off the bench. He hits some threes. He aggressively attacks the basket. Like, holy crap, coming into lane, trying to throw it down like Scotty would. Well, it's like this guy's got some hops. This guy's got some defensive tenacity. This guy's got some Johnny on the spot like Grady Dick has. He's got the 3-point shooting. Yeah, this guy's all of a sudden a diamond in the rough. Like, whoa, wait a second. He's been in the league for 4 years. I remember Milwaukee using him extensively in their rotation before and him being a pain in the ass. And maybe it was just forgotten the last year or so while he's been languishing on the end of the bench for the Pacers. Well, he's getting his number called with us, and he's relishing it. He's coming out there and taking that brass ring and running the hell down the street, around the corner, over to Scotiabank Arena, around that corner, over to the CN Tower. This man has ran with that brass ring all over the place, and he is just killing it. In fact, I can tell he's getting the admiration and respect of his new teammates like crazy. Like, I think that he's somebody that Scotty's like, I love playing with Jordan Nwora. He doesn't give a shit if these guys are big names. If they work hard, if they are badasses, if they hit threes off his passes, he likes them. He likes them. So, yeah, Jordan, you keep doing whatever you're doing, man, because it's awesome. And, like, your attitude and the way you carry yourself on the court is funny, too, because there is a little bit of shit talking. There's a little bit of shit talking coming on. He's doing, like, weird – he has weird dances he does when he does fun things on the court, too. We haven't really seen them yet. There's an old clip of him doing a crazy celebratory dance where he's like, I don't know what the hell he was doing. But, yeah, he's fast becoming a favorite Raptor, Raptors fan nation. Jordan Nwora. Yeah, let's go, man. It's so funny. I couldn't have called this at the beginning of the year. I'm going to tell you that right now. My 4th star is Bruce Brown Jr. Bruce Brown Jr. looking way better in this game last night than a couple games before. Just fitting in, doing good things on both ends of the court. I can see why this guy is valued in the league. I can see why people are like maybe going to want to call us in the next couple of days and try and get this guy on their team. 19 points for Bruce in 38 minutes. 7 of 13 shooting was pretty good for a little guy who's kind of shooting all over the court. To shoot over 50% is awesome. He made 1 3. He was perfect at the line, 4 of 4. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers, a plus 18. Bruce was the highest plus minus on our team last night. Yeah, it was like winning play kind of stuff. Whether it's him stripping the ball out of DeMar's hands when he's trying to make a move and stealing it, whether it's him hitting a big shot at some point when our offense is having trouble trying to score. You know, Bruce was awesome. In some ways, the defense was really there. And you know what? When I see somebody his size box out a man the size of Andre Drummond and get the rebound, I'm like, holy shit, this guy is special. Because how the fuck did he just out-rebound Andre Drummond? That man is double his size, and he looks like he has almost a foot on him. Yeah, that's the kind – it's weird. It's weird. He's a weird player, but in some ways he's got a lot of intangibles, and he can definitely be an X factor for a team in winning. So go, Bruce Brown from downtown. Oh, they love that call, the Jack and Matt, or Alvin too. Let's see. All right, the 5th star I have is Jordan. Is actually no, not Jordan. Is Dennis Schröder, ultimate pro. Dennis has just had. Some people have said Dennis has had such a crazy year with what he should expect from being on the Raptors, and he's just been accepting it and kicking ass and doing his best no matter what, all over the place. And we're proud of him. We're proud of him in a couple ways. So, yeah, Dennis, you're my 5th star. Starting once again, 5 of 11 from the field, 6 of 7 from free throw, double-double, 16 points, 10 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, one block. He did have 6 turnovers, though. That's kind of annoying, but still, Dennis being a pro, and there's a couple of things that signify with Dennis. He is always busting his ass. You saw him get the ball stolen from him by Andre Drummond, and he was pissed. And he ran and chased Andre Drummond down and stopped him from scoring. And then Andre Drummond held him and pushed him out of bounds. And I could tell Dennis hated that. It's kind of like when his German coach put his hands on him. He's like, "Don't put your hands on me," or something like that. I could see that that's how that went with Andre Drummond kind of guiding him when they were both going out of bounds after he blocked him. And I'm sure there was some shit talk too. Yeah, Dennis is awesome. Dennis is such a crucial player for us this year. And I think that most casuals that don't really understand him, man, y'all need to learn basketball better, because there's a lot of things he's doing out there right now that are so helpful to the Raptors. And it's like veteran, high-level shit. And some of you casuals, it goes right over your heads. Like, you don't see it. You don't see the amazing shit that Dennis is doing out there, like the leadership, the organization. They're quoting stats on the broadcast about our plus minus when Dennis is in and Dennis is out. And it's a net for plus when he is in there, and it's a net for minus when he is not. So really understand that as much as like Fred organized us and provided leadership and did certain things on the court when he was on the Raptors, Dennis is filling parts of those voids, and he's doing a very good job of it, honestly. Now, I could do 2 more stars, to be honest. I could give Scotty a star for sure. He deserves one. I could give Jalen McDaniels a star for coming in and being very stalwart off the bench also. Scotty, 4 for 14. He missed all 3 of his threes, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 5 turnovers, a plus 10 with 13 points. Now, you see that Scotty line, and maybe the overcritical Raptors fans are probably bashing Scotty today like idiots because they're dumb. But they don't realize some of the stuff I said earlier about him being more of the focal point for the defense to the other side. Also, the fact that, what Scotty did yesterday? He was a winner. He understood the things that it takes to win, and he concentrated on those. And the things that it takes to win are rebounds, defensive assignments, shot blocks, keeping or communicating with your team. In some ways, it's not necessarily him scoring and scoring and scoring and scoring like some of these guys in the league that have been doing lately. No, his recipe for winning was being that glue, being that Bill Russell type of player that's out there doing all the winning stuff defensively and in the little ways, the dirty work to help his team win. And that's what he did. In some ways, doing all that dirty work is going to take away from his offensive production. So there's a lot of cool stuff Scott was doing. And honestly, I love what he did. In some ways, I will take a game like last night over a 30-plus game from him, because what he did last night was very efficient, very effective, and just really smart towards winning basketball. Scotty's not trying to learn how to be the best scorer in the league, y'all. He's trying to learn the balance of all his multi-talents that will add up to the team having the best percentage chance to win. And honestly, a big reason why we won last night is because Scott went into this game with that mindset, and he's playing that way. Now, some people that love Scott or some people that just want to be critical of the Raptors are going to probably be critical of Scotty today, but they're idiots. They're idiots. They're casuals. They're stupid, and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because Scott played the ultimate team game last night, and we won. And that's all that fucking matters, right? Isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, that's what y'all want is wins. Well, he played the team game and we won. And good for him. Jalen McDaniels is awesome. In some ways, I could see him being a reclamation project just like Jordan Nwora, because, this kid has got some weird talents to him. And if he's enthusiastic and we can unearth him, if Darko can be the unlocker, as we've been talking about with his unlocking of potentials, man, that'd be awesome. 8 points in 14 minutes, 3 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, plus 6. Yeah, I'm digging these J's off the bench. We got the triple J attack. Jalen, Jordan, and Jonte. Look out. Yeah, Jalen McDaniels, a forgotten man on the Raptors roster, but he showed up again last night. And I know part of it was partly because Jonte got hurt and they needed to fill in some of the minutes, but what a pleasant surprise to have Jalen McDaniels come out there and play at such a high level. I love the move that he went to the dribble and banked it high off the glass. I love the open 3-point shots and him being aggressive and taking them in confidence. Very, very good stuff from Jalen McDaniels. And in some ways, he is doing stuff right now for his future in the Raptors jersey. If you do stuff now, Jalen, that could carve you out a future in the Raptors jersey, is what I'm saying. If I want to go through over the other guys who played last night, we got Chris Boucher, 7 minutes, 2 of 2 from the field. He hit the only 3. They dared him. He was in the corner. Of course, he nailed it. 2 rebounds, -5 with 5 points. It does really seem like Chris may be on the trading block. The way that, Darko is not really throwing him in the mix as much as the other guys really kind of does foretell that Chris may be somebody who may be going in a deal somewhere else. I don't like that. In some ways, I really don't like that. I'm on the record for this, but I can't deny that the feeling is like that right now. Garrett Temple got in the game last night for a second, 3 minutes, just got a rebound and a foul, +4, and missed a shot. Jonte did get hurt. It was not his eye injury. He was having back spasms, and he had to leave and did not return to the game. And while he was out there, he didn't score, but he got a couple rebounds, an assist, and a steal. So he was active. In fact, there was one play where the ball was a miss, and nobody went to go get it. Both teams were being really lazy, and Jonte was really active and ran it down and got it and like threw it back in bounds and saved the ball for the Raptors. And I was proud of him there. I loved all those little scrappy plays throughout the game last night where we saw the Raptors really getting after it. And that's the stuff I love. Man, Darko is a really smart coach. He's coaching this team in a certain system. It's effective. It's working. And now we're seeing with some of the personnel changes just how wide open it is. I mean, to see the effective threes going in are amazing because the system really does kind of like make it all fall in and throw it back out, and boom, they're not quick enough to get back out to the 3-point shooter. And that is, I mean, that collapsing of their defense and then kicking it back out has really been effective because we've finally got guys that are hitting the threes around Scotty. And that's something people were crying out for a year or so. Just surround him with shooters. Well, we're doing that right now, and we're getting some good results. We really are. Grady Dick, 20 minutes out there, no score, but once again, Johnny on the spot, active, doing good stuff out there, stirring the drink, playing better and better defense as time goes on. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. I like the fact that he got 4 assists out there, even though he didn't score himself. But amazing thing is the Raptors, for the first time in a long, long time, had really good shooting stats across the board. They shot 52% from the field overall, 48% from the 3, and 90% from the free throw line. And Darko gave good credit to the guys for taking the free throw line seriously last night and being a big part of why we won. Those kind of shooting percentages for our team, you're usually going to win when you shoot 52, 48, and 90. Yeah, those are badasses shooting stats and awesome, awesome stuff. I love it. Trevor J's here. Good morning, Raptors family. Big win. Raptors ride that bull all around Chicago. Refs weren't too bad. There was a little bit of screwy stuff. I really hated that out-of-bounds call on Scotty. That was out on DeMar. It was very obvious. I can't believe Sean Wright said that it was out on Scotty with a straight face. I did not see that in any of the replays as far as with the fingers. And even they were saying the rotation of the ball would have changed if it grazed Scotty's finger on the out of bounds. So that was a very blatant miscall that they went back and looked at, and they still got it wrong. You fucks. Sean Wright, come on, man. I like you, dude. I like you, man. But you totally got that call wrong. That was out on DeMar. Scotty did not touch the ball. And he, in some ways, that's maybe the lesson. It's like Sean's going to come back and tell you, yeah, you hit it out, Scotty. He's like, no, I didn't, man. I did not touch it. And he's like, yeah, you touched it. You touched it. You fucking liars, you NBA refs. We could see it on TV. That DeMar hit the ball out of bounds. Scotty didn't touch it. And y'all can look at it and see it. And you're going to come back and tell us that challenge unsuccessful. In some ways, that could have been a crucial call. Because we lose a timeout, we lose our challenge. Honestly, we should have won that challenge, and there was still 4.5 minutes to go in the game. That could have been a crucial call. because we lost that challenge and them over saying that it was unsuccessful. That is bullshit, Sean Wright. That challenge was successful. We can see it on the TV, and y'all can't see that. We can. Everybody can see that. That's a messed up call. That right there. That was the worst ref call of the game last night. Was that unsuccessful challenge by Darko? Absolute horseshit. That DeMar hit that out. He did. Trevor's saying a big game for Gary. He was on fire. Jordan jump shot is nice. Young was the man last night. Yeah. I love the renaissance of Thad Young. That Darko comes in the press conference last night. He said, I could talk about Thad Young all day here in the press conference. I love talking about Thad Young. It's funny because of his accents. He doesn't say Thad Young. It sounds like he's saying Ted Young. Ted Young. I could talk about Ted Young all day. Yeah, he means it. And Shakina's here for it too. She's like, that's my coach. That's my coach talking about my man, saying he could talk about Thad Young all day. Yeah, we could talk about the praises and greatness and awesomeness about Thad Young, the 17 years experience in the NBA, the mentoring, the talking to, even Thad in his interviews, just so awesome. It's kind of fun to hear the Thad get the post-game interviews recently, because honestly, we haven't heard enough of him talking to the fans in the post-game interviews, because normally he's not getting them, and he's gotten like 2 or 3 in recent weeks. And every time he gets up there and he says something, I just want to listen to him more. Just like Darko could talk about Thad all day, I want to listen to Thad talk more about the Raptors and what's going on, because man, his is just like his perspective from his career and what he's doing and talking about what we're doing as a team is just really enlightening. And oh my gosh, yeah, it's so cool to see Thad in the post-game interviews. It's just cool. Like, when was the last time he was doing post-game interviews as a guy who's one of the top players in the game and coming afterwards and the press is asking to talk to him? It's been a while. Let's just put it that way. It's been a while, and it's so good to see. Let's see. Cowboys saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Winning. I love that interception Scotty did to DeRozan. Yeah. Man, Scotty's so smart, and he's so good, and he's going to get better and better and better. I'm sorry. I see it again last night. This guy is a different level of superstar. Somebody came in yesterday. I guess it was Stavi. And he asked me to compare Paolo Banchero to Scotty Barnes. Listen, there's stuff that Scotty's doing that Paolo is not. And it's intangibles. It's that dirty work I was just talking about earlier. The winning stuff on the down low. In some ways, look, Scott's not studying the new guys on how to win. He's studying the old guys like Bill Russell, Tim Duncan, people like that. People that make an imprint on the game defensively and in rebounding and in presence. And in some ways, team-oriented, like connection with his teammates. This is Russell. This is Duncan. This is that kind of shit. And to me, a lot of ways, Barnes is of the ilk of those two guys I just named, as far as his mentality and how he wants to play with his teammates and contribute to helping them win. In some ways, he's got the mindset of Bill Russell. In some ways, he's got the mindset of Tim Duncan. He may not play exactly like those guys or ever get the achievements that these guys got, but he is the same ilk. He is the same kind of mindset and person as those two all-time NBA greats. And I'm telling you, those aren't the most common mindsets in NBA level superstars. And that's why I know he's going to be successful, because he's a team superstar. He's a team leader. He's a guy just like Bill Russell. He's going to get those blocks. He's going to get those rebounds. He's going to make the tough defensive assignments when they have to be made. Yeah. That's the names I'm starting to compare him to as far as his mindset and how he looks at team basketball. Those names. Those are big names. Russell and Duncan. Yeah. Let's see. Nako's saying probably Brown's best game. Yeah, I would agree with that. It was a balance to it. In some of the games, he's been very good defensively, but not so good on offense. And then vice versa. He's had games where he's been really good on offense, but he's messed up on defense. Well, I saw a good balance. He's getting steals. He's being an agitator. Some of the stuff he does is amazing. Like, if somebody tries to pass it over Bruce Brown, he's just putting his hand up and he's deflecting it and getting it because of quick reaction and also just reflexes. Like, it's crazy how many passes he got in the middle of that the Bulls were trying to do, passing around, just messing them up. And that leading to good stuff in transition for the Raptors. Yeah, I agree. That was probably Bruce Brown's best all-around game for the Raptors so far. Cowboys saying that dunk that Nwora almost did. Yeah, that was unexpected. That made me do the Jack Armstrong, hello, even though he didn't make it. And you saw everybody on the bench riled up about it. I love the enthusiasm of our bench, the support, the teammates, even the New York guys sitting there, RJ wearing a really slick Canada warm-up tracksuit, representing our country and also on the Raptors. So beautiful, awesome. And then, seeing the enthusiasm, the smiles of Quickly, and the rest of those guys sitting on the bench after Nwora tried to do that. It was awesome. I'm glad he got the foul and he got to go to the line because he deserved a reward for such an athletic attack. So crazy. Awesome. Trevor's saying, I cannot wait to see when everybody is healthy and back on the court. Very scary. Yeah, it's so ambiguous in some ways. Paul B's complaining yesterday. If they're going to tank, just tell us. I'm like, Paul, they're not going to tell you outright that they're tanking. Hello, that's stupid. Like, they can get in trouble for that. That's what you really need, the confirmation. Just watch them play and let them do what they're going to do. But it is ambiguous about where they're going to land at the end of the year. They get Yaka back. They get everybody back. Well, we might win a lot more than we lose, and that might get in the way of the things with the pick with San Antonio. So, man, it is really like a should I stay or should I go kind of feeling right now. The Clash song is like, darling, you got to let me know, should we win or should we blow it? I'm like, I don't know. Are we tank commanders or not? Because last night we didn't tank. We won. And I loved it. In some ways, it felt good. And it also made me feel like the promise of getting our starters back, Jakob, RJ, and Emmanuel, means we might be a very good team. And in some ways, it may be harder to throw games at that point. I mean, this is part of the reason why you hold these guys out like you do at the end of the Tampa season, like you do right recently, it seems like. Just pull punches, not make it so easy for you to win and see where you are with your record. In some ways, we needed to win. We had lost 5 straight. And in some ways, you got to stop the bleeding every once in a while. You got to make sure you can still win when you need to win. And, well, we did that last night. It was awesome. Let's see. Nako's saying we got a good McDaniels game. Yeah, he's still so skinny, but he's so long. Like, he really can go up over guys, and they can't block him or do anything. And he's got really good skill for his, body and length. Like, he's a good dribbler, and he does have a really good outside shot. And he also can block shots. So there's a lot of usefulness about Jalen McDaniels, even if he's seems like he's just a little bit of a different variation of Chris Boucher. There's so many useful and interesting things that he can do. It's amazing and it's awesome. All right, let's see. Jimmy Pope is saying, I really wish Nwora made that dunk. Man, that would have been nuts. Yeah, it looked cool anyway. I mean, just the athleticism to try and get to that dunk is impressive. In some ways, this is not something that we thought about with Nwora, that he is an extremely good athlete that is going to come and try and throw it down like that. In some ways, it's like, hello, Raptors fans. Look, I can do this too. And everybody's like, what? Yeah. You got a lot of new fans because of it. I'm sure you did. Yeah, it would have been nice if he had made it, Jimmy, for sure. Dana is here. Canadian Dana, of course, going to the 9:05 game yesterday and sitting courtside at the Maine Celtics game last night. Let's see what Dana's saying. Good morning, everyone. I have no voice at all. She lost her voice yelling at the game. That's awesome. She said she was yelling at the refs and yelling at Eric Curry. Great Raps win last night. And my 2-finger salute goes to all 3 9:05 refs and Eric Curry. Yeah, Dana, you're so awesome. I loved your little stink face towards them. That you sent us a picture in the chat. It was so cool. Dana, you are awesome. You are so awesome. Yeah, I was thinking about you during that game and trying to figure out where you were sitting exactly from your picture and wondering when you're talking to people and stuff. Hopefully you weren't too close to the Raptors bench and making it hard for Eric Curry. I felt like the 9:05 were stumbling around in the game yesterday a bit. And not really winning. In some ways, they could not guard the 3-pointer last night. The Maine Celtics absolutely torching us from 3. And it was just kind of a weird thing where it's like they were just kind of lagging through the game, and then they made a wholehearted attempt to try and come back and win at the end, and very much within reach. If they had just done a couple more things exactly right at the end in the fourth quarter, they might have won. But no, the Celtics blew it back open, and then there was a really embarrassing like dunk teabagging by Walsh on our Raptors guys right at the end, where he dunked on the rim, and he hung on it, and he kind of like there were guys underneath him, and he was like bouncing all around on top of them, and it was very humiliating in some ways. And he got in trouble for it. They gave us a technical free throw for a taunting dunk, teabagging. So yeah, let's talk about the stars of the game for me in that game in the losing effort. My number one star in the 905 game was Justice Winslow. As I said earlier, he got his career high in the G League. Fantastic game by Justice. 31 points, 10 rebounds, 13 of 19 shooting. Wow. He was working it. In some ways, I didn't watch the G League game as closely once the Bulls game came on, but I could see Justice working really, really hard. 2 of 6 from 3, 2 of 4 from the free throw line, 1 assist, 3 steals. 3 steals are awesome too. He was even in plus minus. Yeah, 31 points in 35 minutes is nothing to sneeze at. And Justice, you're awesome. We love you. My second star of the 905 game is Kobe Simmons. In the starting lineup, he shot 50%, 6 of 12 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, 3 turnovers, and 6 fouls. He fouled out, 15 points, plus 6. Yeah, Kobe was great. He's been playing a lot better in recent games. And my last star is Daryl Morsell off the bench. Even though Daryl was kind of boneheaded at times too, he missed a free throw really badly. He had a turnover, but Morsell was 3 for 3 from the field with 1 for 1 from 3, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. So stat stuff in limited time, 7 points in 17 minutes. Yeah, honorable mentions. Kevin O'Banner, 11 points, a plus 12 with 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 of 5 from the field. Maybe I'll give an honorable mention to also Mohamedou Gueye, 10 points, 5 of 12 shooting, 0 for 3 from 3, 4 rebounds, and that's it. And Javon Freeman Liberty, not a very good game. 4 of 14, 1 of 6 from the field, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 11 points, a minus 14. And then Kyra Lewis Jr., 4 for 13, 9 points for him. So not the best shooting by some of the guys. Drake Jeffries really bad in this game too. Jayshawn Page came in and made some baskets late himself. But a lot of, just in some ways, just not enough from the Raptors 905, and the Maine Celtics just played at a higher level. In particular, Peterson killed us, and Stewart, 28 and 26 respectively for those two guys. Yeah, it's too bad, honestly. Well, they're going to get a chance to play them again today, 7:30. They're going to be wearing the Chinese New Year's jerseys, the Dragon jerseys, which are fire. And you know what they say, that these 2-game series like this, it's really tough to sweep them. So hopefully we can split it by beating the Maine Celtics tonight and not let them get a sweep in this game. In some ways, this is also just like the Bulls game last night. It's to figure out the season series. If we win tonight, it'll be a split 2-2 with the Maine Celtics this season. That was good that we got the split against the Bulls. In some ways, I don't know. The friendship between Billy Donovan and Darko Rajakovic is huge. They really do love each other. They spent time together in Oklahoma City, and Billy is a mentor in some ways to Darko. And that's a really strong friendship. So when we play the Bulls with Billy Donovan, there's a lot of friendliness about it because the two coaches are very close, just so y'all know. Yeah, it's too bad what happened in the 905 game. Dana, I hope you had a blast. You did a good job because you lost your voice. I can tell you did a good job trying to help them win. Too bad they didn't do it. Dana, you're awesome. Chris is saying that, Trevor, yes, let's say this year is a wash, but when all healthy, we should get to see some good wins. More moves made by the end of the week. We'll have to see. Trade deadline looming and approaching. And we'll have to see. There may still be things to come for sure. I want to see what happens when Yak comes back. Not even with these New York guys. It's really the center. When Pirtle comes back, it'll be interesting to see how much better we are, because I really do feel like we will be, because a huge weakness we have right now will be shored up. And also the hub that he is will help. Now, Gary said in some ways with Yak out, the spacing's so good right now. I kind of didn't like when he said that. But he also did say, well, it's going to be fine either way. We're going to do things however we can with who we have available. So when they were talking to him about the lineup without the center and how things have been opened up with smaller guards out there, and he said he enjoyed it. But I know that he'll play with Yak being out there. We need Yak, obviously. It's not just like, we need the defense. We need the rim protection. We need the rebounding. We need somebody to get in the between Vucevic and the basket. And that's Jakob Poeltl. So, in some ways, you can't just have a little tiny lineup just for spacing. You got to guard your basket, and having Jakob out there is important. Let's see. Nako's saying, still want to see what happens to the picks and Bruce, but I'm feeling better about the return for Pascal. Yeah, Nwara's helping that. I think Nwora is really helping that at this point. And, the picks are going to be interesting. The picks are very much going to be interesting. If we trade Bruce Brown and we get a whole kind of package for him, that'll be a part of it too. It's like it's all kind of sub parts of it. It's like, okay, this is all what we got for Siakam. Well, when you do something with Brown, it branches out into a whole other package of more things that could be part of the Siakam trade. So it'll be fun to see. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Wednesday. Without RJ, Quickly, and Yak, we came back from a deficit against DeMar, Caruso, White, and Vucevic. We have the ingredients. Let us patiently cook, and great game. Yeah, I'm excited. In some ways, I was disappointed when we heard that Jakob would not be playing again last night, because of the Vucevic matchup. And I'm like, and then I started posting a bunch of pictures of tanks. Tanks in the comments, which was hilarious. Yeah, in some ways, I know that tank word is frowned upon here, but we have to be real. That it may seem like because of guys not playing, that may be kind of like the direction we're unintentionally trying to go towards. When I see that, like, okay, we're playing Vucevic and Drummond, and Jakob has not played in so long, and it seems like he should be able to play, because we saw a clip from their practice in Chicago the day before where they were doing a 3-point shootout between Otto Porter Jr. and Gary Trent Jr., and everybody's getting all hyped about it, and they're going back and forth. And then at the end of it, Jakob sprints over to Otto and jumps up in the air and does a little dap with him. And I'm like, well, Jakob looks pretty good in that clip right there. Hopefully he's playing tonight. And then I find out, oh, no, Jakob's not playing tonight. And I'm just like, okay, let's get the tank gifts and put them in the comments, because that's what it symbolizes to me in some ways. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to question this. Trust in Messiah and Bobby. I love it. And we're going to do what we're going to do because we're supposed to. Fiercely saying to Dana, sorry your stink face couldn't help at the 905 game, but glad you represented for us, fam. Yeah, respect. And it looked like a lot of fun. Man, I got to get to a 905 game. I still have not gone to a 905 game ever. I just don't go to Mississauga. I think in my life, I've probably gone to Mississauga like 3 times. I'm not lying. Seriously, I have not ever had many reasons to be out there. I didn't have any friends that lived out there. I can remember going to Square One once. I'm serious. So I need to get out there. Like, Greg was inviting me to come out there and go to game with him last year. And I was like, man, you just don't understand. I don't get out there very much. It'd be hard for me to get out there. Like Adriana, she's out in Scarborough near the zoo. And if her and I were going to come out there to meet Greg to go to the game, it's a haul, because she's literally all the way on the other side of town, and I'm closer to her than I am to Mississauga. So it's just, I want to go though. I really do. I need to mark this off my bucket list and get down there to a 905 game. Maybe I need to just go when they go to the arena, when they have a schoolyard game at like noon at Scotiabank Arena. Maybe I need to go to the Scotiabank so I don't have to go all the way out there. I don't know. I should see their facility, though, in some ways. I should see their facility. But I'm glad Dana had an awesome time. I need to have that experience too. I need to go out there. I just need to. It seems like it's not complete if I don't. Fiercey is saying also, let's see, it jumped ahead. Let me get back to where my spot was. Good to see so many names in the chat this morning. Let's see. She's also saying Nwora will make the dunk. It's coming. Great game for him. Gary, Dennis, Scott, and Thad, the man of the hour. Yeah, it's good little nucleus, good team game, good communication, good connecting. I really like the passing system. Stillman's going on and raving about Darko's coaching in our chat on the Facebook group, and I can't disagree with him. He's like, he's a genius. He's a genius. This system and the way they're passing every which way. I love the fact that we're garnering a lot of open 3-point shots. It seems like in the last couple of years, the Raptors could not get open good looks from outside. The defense was always catching up. But now with, I guess, the way that Darko's set it up, they really do a good job of giving guys good time to get shots off, like Gary, Grady, Jordan, these outside shooters. It's absolutely awesome. I love that so much. It's that drive and kick. It's that collapse that defense and get them all worried about you around the basket, and boom, there's Gary outside nailing a three. It's a beautiful thing. G saying, who needs Malcolm when you have Nwora? You're saying who needs Malcolm Brogdon? Yeah, I don't know. They're totally different players. Nwara's interesting. I don't know why we keep comparing him to guards. He's not like he's a forward. He's a forward. Chris is saying Eric Curry must be in place as a toughening up process for the players. If they can take his coaching and keep cool, they pass the test. I guess so, Chris. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. If there's the coach is learning also, and you guys are learning, well, there's a learning curve for both, and that sucks. It's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. Dana's saying at Fiercey, it was a crazy game. The refs were terrible. I'm going to more games for sure. They want you to be loud. That's good. That's good. Yeah, they should want everybody to be loud. And Eric Curry, if you can't get your players organized in the loudness of the Paramount Fine Food Center at your own arena, well, man, maybe you shouldn't be coaching, is what I would say. Yeah, I'll bet it was crazy. They have wild crowds there, loud, wild, little crowds that are wild. And I love that. 905, you keep doing what you do with your crowds out there. And Dana, yeah, keep going. Keep going for sure. Chris is saying Nwora over Precious. Too early to ask. This is actually a fun little brain exercise. Let me think about this. All right. If I'm thinking about different things, I'm going to tell you this. Nwora is a better 3-point shooter than Precious. We'll say that. I'll say Precious is a better rebounder and defender. Nwora maybe a little bit more refined with his ball handling and being able to not turn the ball over. So I'll give Nwora that. I mean, there's a couple different ways we can compare them. In some ways, I will say this. Precious may have a higher ceiling and a higher level that he could get to, but he may never get to it. And Nwora is more of a refined player than Precious right now. But in some ways, his ceiling isn't as high as Precious's. Does that seem like a fair assessment of this? And it could very well be they're very equal right now where they're at, partly because of what I just talked about. That if Precious gets it together a little bit more and more refined, I mean, he had an amazing game against the Hornets the other night for the Knicks. Nwora is a different kind of player. Once again, I think that in some ways Precious is a defensive-oriented player and Nwora is more an offensive-oriented player. But I won't disagree with you doing this, of course. I'm the Raptors freak. I'm going to go with the guy who's still on the Raptors. But I think that in the long run, Precious could end up being a better player than Nwora, but that's up to him, and it may not ever happen. So G saying, credit to Bruce. He seems to just love playing ball, regardless of where he is. He played very hard. I got that feeling in general, and we're not even playing RJ and Emmanuel right now. In some ways, some of the guys that are on our team just love to ball, just love to be out there. And honestly, they play for the right reasons. That's part of the thing that I'm really enjoying about some of these new guys and discovering them. In some ways, Jordan and Bruce play for the right reasons. And in some ways, it is really fitting well with Scott's mentality and how he plays for the right reasons. I think that in some ways, when Bobby and Masai were figuring out, well, we're going to have to blow the team up to an extent, and we're going to keep some guys, and we're going to get guys coming in. They're really, really doing their homework. on thinking about and visualizing, well, how will this guy look next to Scotty? And how will their actions fit with his skill set? And how can they be like very useful and synergized with Scotty Barnes as the centerpiece? And there's a lot more crafting in making the moves after knowing what your centerpiece looks like and what they're supposed to be doing. In some ways, that's the whole thing that this thing has been. Is, we got the 4th pick, we drafted Scotty. His first couple years on our team were to see how he fits with the guys who are existing. And the guys that didn't really fit exactly right, or we could figure out, well, maybe we need other people that are different with different skill sets next to him. Then we make the changes. And that's really what just happened. We had to understand that Scotty was worth building around. First of all, he had to have a certain acumen and aptitude and growth and development and leveling up in his first few years as a Raptor. And then we would say, okay, yeah, it's him. He is him. And now we can go into the next phase. In some ways, that's the dubiousness of holding on to Siakam and Anunoby. Is Scotty going to pan out? Is Scotty going to be showing the signs that he can be that level of superstar to be the guy for us? And that now that these guys are gone, it signifies that, yes, he is. And we are willing to start putting the pieces around him that fit really well with him. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And in some ways, we're seeing it already. Like Jordan Nwora, Bruce Brown, RJ and Quickly. These guys all seem like they fit really well around Scott's game. And that is the masterwork of our front office, thinking about fit and attributes and skill sets and what will meld with Scotty Barnes. And that's a really, really good thing. Really, really good thing. Fiercely saying, also being inconsistent, I must say I really appreciate his recent games. And for the record, he's not fat. Right now, he's fat, P-H-A-T. Yeah, Fiercely wondering about Gary's, the allegations of him being fat by Chris. No, I felt like he was just a little sleepy at times. And it still shows up sometimes in games. So it's like, well, Gary, the ball's thrown to you. He's like, whoa, whoa. He wakes up all of a sudden. I don't know. He's fantastic. Gary, seal of approval. And thanks for helping my fantasy team last night, too. That's a big part of it, too, for me at least. G saying also, Dennis was running and playing hard, some turnovers, but he really wanted this win, and it showed. Yeah, he was busting his ass. I love how he's going into towards the basket and trying to lay stuff up. That kind of stuff is amazing. Dennis has been playing at a very high level. And honestly, we should all appreciate and love him way more, Raptors Nation. Y'all that are kind of negative and negging on Dennis, y'all need to stop and apologize to this man. He's an ultimate professional. He's kicking ass. He's really, really doing things right. You can tell he's doing it partly for Darko and his connection and personal friendship with him, that he's out there and he wants to help Darko look good and help him win games. So Dennis is a real one. He's a real one for sure. Let's see. Nako saying, I like Precious's intangibles more, but Nwora makes better decisions. Yeah, I think that's kind of like saying the same thing I just said, is that Precious Achiuwa may have a higher ceiling and a possibility of how good he could get than Jordan Nwora. But in some ways, Jordan Nwora is already more refined and polished and not making as many mistakes as Precious. Fiercely saying, Scotty doesn't produce as many double-doubles as he's being double-teamed, and the opponents play against him, but he's still aggressive when he can, facilitates and locks in, especially in his free throws. The great thing about this is that he's really dissecting mismatches. Like last night, whenever they try to put Caruso on him, he was trying to go and take it apart and really make them pay for that mistake. And that's an important thing for him to do, is to really like read the floor, read the places where players are, and really find out where that weak link is and go at it. And, before it may have been like a long pass down court to OG and he's got a little guy on his back and he just dunks it on him. There's a lot of different ways he can find the mismatch. Sometimes he's reading when the defender's laying off of Grady or Gary and he's throwing that ball across court real quick to get them an open three. This is stuff that the computer and Scotty's brain is reading very quickly and higher level than most NBA players can. And he has the aptitude and the ability to make crazy passes and then make things happen. Some of the passes to Thad last night were genius and just amazing. He brought all the attention. He comes attacking the rim and they expect him to go up strong and he just flips it around them and Thad's getting it and he's putting it in easier. That unselfishness combined with the attraction of drawing so much defensive attention is really, really, really scary for the NBA in the future. I'm going to tell you that right now. In some ways, a lot of these players have to learn how to get through the double team, and there's a learning curve. Once again, this is another thing that Scotty's ahead on, and it comes to him naturally. When we think about Siakam, when he became the number one, and he did a lot of isolation work, he would try and beat the double, and he didn't read the double very well coming at him. There was a learning curve where he got better at it. He definitely got better at it, and he's very good at it now. But in the early part, he wasn't very good at it when he started getting the doubles himself. Scotty's already killing the doubles the smart way ahead of time right now. Like in some ways, you could say beating doubles for a superstar player, it takes a year of development to really learn how to do that. No, Scotty's already got it. He's already got it. And in some ways, he's so fast-tracked on some really high-level skill that sometimes takes guys years to be able to do in the NBA. And that's the scary thing. And this, a lot of people are not keeping their eyes open to this. In some ways, they're hiding Scott. And in some ways, that'll be their own damn fault later when we come back and kill them. When he's like, it's apparent and there's no denying exactly what I'm saying about Scotty Barnes right now. You'll see it on the court because it'll be in the results of how he plays and what he does to the other teams. So yeah, y'all hide him now, NBA, and you'll find out you can't anymore because it's undeniable. And you're stupid to not put him in the forefront in the limelight and put him as a superstar in this league, a golden boy, and treat him the right way with the foul calls too. Because he's going to go the hard way and he's going to get there anyway. And in some ways, that'll make him even more of a monster to the rest of y'all. Because he's going to do it the hard way. He's going to learn how to make baskets through contact because y'all didn't call the fouls. And then you idiots, think about this. When you do finally come back around and give him LeBron or Joel Embiid treatment, well, he can finish through the contact and he can take the ticky-tack fouls like those losers do too. And just think about how his points will go up and he'll be so much better for it because y'all made him go the hard route by cheating him of the proper foul calls for a long time in his career. Well, finally, when he comes out the other side and it's no denying and you need to give him the calls, yeah, it's going to be game over for y'all because you built him up in the hardest route. You idiots. That's what you get, NBA. You're going to do that kind of shit to Scott. Well, you're going to get his wrath one day. You are definitely going to get his wrath. That's right. That is right. G saying when Kawhi left, all the defense went on Pascal. See, G and I are going to echo the same thing. I hope the fans that slandered him all those years after the bubble realize how difficult his position was without Kawhi. Scotty needs some grace. Yeah. But I'm going to say this right now, G. He's going to get through this period better than Siakam, faster, and he's already kind of through it. It's the craziest thing. This just literally happened this month, trading Siakam. And all the attention is on Scott now, and he's not really struggling. That's the weird thing. You can think about this, G. When the period you're talking about when Kawhi left and Pascal got this switched onto him, he really struggled for a little while after this. But Scotty is not, and he's contributing, and he's still playing at a very high level. Maybe his efficiency as a shooter has gone down a little bit, but overall, he's not being stymied. He's not having really bad games like Siakam did after Leonard went to the Clippers. So that's an interesting thing that we definitely need to give Scotty grace and give him the benefit of the doubt and the transitions. But in some ways, he doesn't need that even because he's excelling even though, which is the crazy thing to me. It just goes to show the amazing talent that Scotty Barnes is. Let's see. Chris is saying, has Scotty practiced driving the lane with people with blockers and foam batons hitting him? He has to improve the finish. And he is right there for huge scoring games. And Nwara's mental is better than Precious. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's already been working on this. I can see a market improvement in Scotty taking contact, going to the basket, and finishing. Before, he'd take any kind of light contact, and he'd flail, he'd flop, he'd complain, instead of trying to actually force through the shot and make it. Well, now he's trying to force through the shot and make it, and with mixed results. They're giving him the calls too. Like there's been times now, last night, I saw him get in the line and getting the calls. Sometimes he doesn't, but more often now, sometimes he's getting them again now. And that's the good thing. So it's all a learning curve and he's going to get there better and better. And he is finishing through contact. It's just that it's really hard to, especially if you got like two guys hitting you at once. Yeah, I won't disagree that Jordan Nwora may have a better mental game than Precious. I think that that's part of kind of what I was saying earlier. Wayne's saying this is what dog looks like: development plus dog. Like it or not, players have to be motivated, and notables were always MIA. My number one is Thad Young. See, now this is an area that Wayne has been critical of with the Raptors and his time in the stream with us. He's very much talked about what was the motivation, or some of these guys aren't playing exactly right. We've questioned about, things like Siakam's late a decision to become a basketball player in his life. In some ways, he missed out on some of those formative years in his as a young child of learning the team sports competition and just how much you get competitive. In some ways, you grow up in North America, you're involved in organized sports. You get that you get the whole different kind of level of competition. In some ways, I feel like Siakam was always competing with himself, and in some ways, not necessarily competing with the other team to a degree, like you would on the court, like you would Reggie Miller would compete with Michael Jordan back in the day. In some ways, I feel like in some ways, Siakam's competition is with himself and being a better player and version of himself day in, day out. And in some ways, he doesn't make it me versus the other guy. It's me versus the version I was yesterday. And I feel like that's what motivates him. In some ways, that's not the best kind of way to be in the NBA, because you miss stuff like what Wayne is trying to say here is that, the motivation to beat your opponent on the court in the real time, like by looking at your points versus their points, that kind of shit. In some ways, Siakam just wants to play it as excellent as he can, and he does, and it does add up to winning quite often. But I don't know if I'm getting across what I'm trying to say. There's a different level of looking at competition, I feel like, in some ways there. And it may be a cultural thing. It may be something like just because of his background coming in late to the sport, that in some ways the formative years of when he was young, who knows what he was doing when he was younger instead of playing basketball. And maybe he wasn't a very competitive person. Maybe he was somebody that was kind of like very loving and everybody together. And in some ways that it goes against his personality to be cutthroat and kind of like be angry at people and say, I'm going to kill you. We talked about angry Pascal about Rico Hines saying that one time after the Rico runs. And we're like, yeah, we'd like to see more angry Pascal. But in some ways we see it sometimes, but it's the level of angry and what he does. It's not like Jordan Nwora going to the basket like that. I mean, I guess that's what Wayne's trying to say. And I don't mean to just point out Siakam. There were other guys that have been on our team in the last couple of years that may be a little apathetic to getting up for competition. I'm not even saying that that's who Siakam is. His competition was with himself. And it seems like it is still. But he'll be great. He's a great NBA player. He's a top NBA player. And sometimes I wonder what Siakam would be like if he had that other kind of competitiveness that Wayne and I value in some ways. Yeah. Let's see. Chris is saying Thad looked 25 years old out there. He is such a smart player. Who would have thought he'd be so important to start February at the start of this year? Not me. And yes, motivated plays wins. Well, this is funny. We can go in the time machine, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, and go back to the beginning of the season. And we can think about like what happened after Fred signed with Houston. And we had the cap space because we didn't re-sign Fred. And we automatically signed, we kept the team option on Thad Young, which was like $9 million almost. And everybody's like, why the hell are we keeping Thad Young? Like, why is he even on our team anymore? You idiots. This is why y'all aren't in sports management. This is why y'all aren't scouts in the NBA. This is why y'all don't know what the fuck you're talking about, half y'all, in Twitter and social media spaces. If we had your way, this wouldn't be happening with Thaddeus because he wouldn't even be on our team. So that's what I'm saying. Y'all don't know what the fuck you're talking about when you say stuff like, why is Thad still on our team? He's overpaid at $9 million. I don't think he's not overpaid right now. No, I don't. He's been a emergency breaking in case emergency center, and he has been helpful and very, very helpful at this time. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about all the talk about Thad Young this year and just how vital he's been for us recently. So vital. Fiercely saying Thad providing great answers at the post-game presser. Instagram NBA put a snippet of Gary saying we still want to win. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, of course we do. I mean, this is the thing. In some ways, like I said, we gone over this ad nauseum. If we don't have a good enough team to beat the team on the other side, talent-wise, and we don't win, we don't win. But we're going to try and practice the ways of winning and doing the things right and getting better and better. and hopefully it will add up to winning. They learned from the Atlanta game, you got to box out. If you don't box out, Sadiq Bey is going to dunk it on you at the last second, and you're going to lose by 1 point. So they recommitted in practice to boxing out a lot between the Atlanta and Chicago game. And we saw a difference. We actually saw these guys boxing out, and they won the rebounding battle. So that's the thing. It's always a work in progress. And, they're going to figure it out. And these guys are wasting their time if they're not trying to win, right? Isn't that the way? It's like, why are you doing that? If you're going to do it that way, then you're wasting your life. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your effort. You're wasting the jet fuel to fly you around the NBA. You're wasting everybody's time as far as fans. What's the point if they're not trying to win, right? But can you, sit guys on purpose or sit guys because they're hurt and it doesn't add up to winning and you don't win too? Yeah, that can happen too. That can definitely happen too. Let's see. Nako's saying, is it crazy to say Darko is just better than Nick? Seems to have found a way to make old man Thad a productive starter. I mean, once again, comparisons are weird to do, especially because you don't know where different guys are in their careers in different places. And also, Nick has a very different philosophies than Darko. They're very opposite. This is symbolic of the differences right here. The Raptors last night as a team tied the record for most consecutive games having 25 or plus assists. The team that they are tied with now, 30 games in a row, 25 plus assists, is the Showtime Lakers of 1985. Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Byron Scott. That's the team we're tied with for the most consecutive games with 25 plus assists. It's the Showtime Lakers. In some ways, you can talk about the charitable thing that Darko's doing with this money for the hospitals with the assist numbers we're getting. You could talk about the new philosophy, the sustainable system that Darko is implementing for our team and our culture. And wow, it's awesome. In some ways, Nick was scared and didn't dare to pass the ball because he knew turnovers happen like that. And he really valued winning the turnover battle and getting more shots than the other team, more field goal attempts. And one of the ways he would do it is to not pass it. Well, Darko's the exact opposite. In some ways, Darko is like Star Trek. He dares to go where no man has gone before. Dun, 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 dun. Can you trust the Raptors to pass the ball around a lot without them turning the ball over? Well, they're not. If they don't practice doing it, they won't get good at it. And if you decide all of a sudden as a Nick Nurse coach, we do need some passing to get our offense to not stagnate for like 5 minutes all the time. Well, when they do pass it, finally, they're going to fail and they're going to look shitty at it because they don't practice it, because your philosophy is to not pass it. And now these guys are all passing it. They're encouraged to pass it. They're more used to it. They're getting better at it. They're understanding how to connect with each other better. Boom, things are happening better. There's better synergy. The team is more of a team and they win. I mean, the philosophical difference of saying we're not going to pass it because we don't want to limit our turnovers is really the biggest difference right there. And if you want to say that Nick's a worse coach because of that, I'll be standing behind you. But in some ways, Nick was a defensive coach, and his genius was in his crazy-ass defensive system that he set up for us. It's just as much as the inverse of Darko's offensive system is his calling card. So, it is what it is. They're different flavors of ice cream. And in some ways, I would say that most Raptors fans would agree with me that watching Darko coach team is way more fun than watching a Nick Nurse coach team. Yeah. He's Thaddeus. Listen, if there's one thing they said about Darko is he can make players new players. He unlocks them. So yeah, even Thad at this age. I mean, Thad was just waiting, and he could have been doing this at any time, and he keeps himself up. But good kudos to Darko for having the faith and the trust in him to put him in this situation. Fiercely saying diamond in the rough. Messiah is good at finding them. Awesome work. Yeah, Jordan Nwora and Jalen McDaniels, even Jonte Porter. These guys could all end up being very helpful players to us. The next wave of guys that make strides and leaps in their game and add value to them. They're getting bigger contracts down the road, just like Fred, OG, and Pascal just got. Well, what if these guys get some leaps, get unlocked by Darko the Unlocker, and all of a sudden they're the new wave of progressively getting better, developing players that Darko's working with? Yeah, I'm about that. Carlos saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Good morning to you, Carlo JS. G saying, Gary saying they still want to win made me happy. I understand the tank stuff situationally, but losing intentionally doesn't sit well in my soul. Yeah, it doesn't in mine. I don't think it does in anybody's. In fact, I resent that kind of thing or strategy or culture it even exists in the NBA today. Like, I guess over time, the situations happen and where somebody capitalized and did good things for because of it. Some people will say it's the Spurs. And it became more of an idea of a strategy. And then the NBA hated it and they trying to, mess people up for doing it. But in some ways, it is a part of NBA culture, the idea of tanking. And it really doesn't, it really goes against the whole idea of competition and what you're trying to do out there. Carlos saying, all hustle, all heart last night. That's right. Gritty win in a opposing arena with crazy screaming little wannabe DeAndre DeRozans. Yeah, that Bulls crowd was expecting they going to beat the lowly Raptors. In some ways, we may need to go check on Bulls Nation. They could be in shambles right now. We lost to them without RJ and Emmanuel and Jakob. The Raptors are really bad this year. Have you seen how many teams they've been losing to and which teams they've been losing to? Holy crap, it's the Bulls all over again, doing this shit again. And just imagine what Bulls freaks saying this morning. Seriously, you lose to us. It's like a venom. You get a poison in you too, because it's like, it's the Raptors. We lost. We didn't just lose. We lost to the Raptors, and the Raptors are bad this year. They lost to Detroit. I don't know. We may need to go check on Bulls Freak, Bulls Nation, and how they're feeling today. They're probably like, what are we doing this season? Holy crap. In some ways, they get their hopes up a little bit more recently just to lose to us last night. And they're like, yeah, we're not doing anything this year. I'm sure that's how they feel. Yeah, I could see that. All right, let's see. Fiercely saying, and Nako, it's not. I agree with you. To each their own. Nick Nurse is all about winning. Darko's about developing and unlocking potential. He's the type of coach and personality we needed. Thank you, Masai. Yeah, I mean, Nick, and that's good. I love that Nick was all about winning. But don't get it twisted. Darko's all about winning too. It's just in some ways he may go the harder route and not necessarily want the easy players on the team to do it. Like Nick had very easy players to do it in the beginning. And they got harder as it went. And he did the best with what he could over the 5 years he was the coach of the Raptors, except for the last year. Yeah, he did the best he could with what he had on his roster to a degree. And he tried to make winning as best as he could, except for last year. Darko is about winning also. Let's not get this twisted. And he's about winning through development and getting better and unlocking potential. That's right. Troy Henry's here. Good to see Troy. Something about the name Jordan, that missed dunk. I thought it was Scotty. You saw it and you're like the hair. You saw the athleticism and you're kind of vicariously watching, or maybe you just saw it for a second and you thought it was Scotty that went up and did that. Yeah, that's pretty funny. I mean, they could be like body type doppelgangers and to an extent. So I can see where you'd think that. And you say bringing up that his name is Jordan. I wonder if he is named after Michael Jordan. That could very well be. I mean, I know that he's from Nigeria or his family's from Nigeria. But yeah, quite often people that are named Jordan in this world are somewhat named after Michael Jordan, I would think. We may have to find out and confirm this somehow, some way, whether Jordan Nwora is named after Michael Jordan. Let's see. Monique is here. Good to see the super fan, the greatest, Monique Lawrence. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Much needed win. Oh, yeah. We are definitely keeping Jordan Nwora. 3 stars of the game for me, Gary, Thad, and Dennis. Jordan, Scotty, build on this win, please. Yeah. Who's next? Freddy, Frederico, the boy, my man, Steady Freddy. Yeah, Fred Van Vliet and the Houston Rockets Friday night. Yeah, in Houston. So we'll have the preview for that on Friday morning. That'll be fun. Tomorrow, another Thursday Think Tank call-in show. So get your phones ready. We'll have the phone lines open, and y'all can talk to me on the phone lines on there. The number will be on the community tab. If you have the number already from before, just call it again from last week. And yeah, I'm not sure what the topic will be tomorrow. In some ways, I just want to do general, let's talk about the Raptors, call-in show kind of show. So it's not like you have to follow any rules or have any subject in particular. We just have a Raptor-free call-in show tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. The Thursday Think Tank call-in show another one tomorrow. So be ready to call in and with your opinions. Maybe you have something you want to say that you can't type it in with the letters, how many you can put in. Maybe you have an elaborate thing you want to say. Well, let's get it out on the phone on the show tomorrow. Yeah, Thursday Think Tank call-in show. That's right. Let's keep going. G saying the commentators noted that they worked very hard on boxing out. They were able to play small ball, and just by boxing out, they won the rebounding game. Yeah, this is part of the thing. Small ball and the things that we were doing last night, you can do it and be very successful. In fact, the Celtics are a good example of this. They're playing very small ball lineups with like 4-guard lineups often. And the only way that that works is that they're so syncopated and in tune with each other that they switch on defense very well. There's a lot of trapping with multiple guys coming at bigger players and really bothering people. And then they're really on top of the defensive and blocking out rebounding assignments. And that's the way it works for winning teams that decide to go small ball is communication, syncopation, and being in the right places to help each other at all times. If people are not on the same page and doing that, even just 1 out of the 5, you're screwed. It falls apart. It's so important for everybody to be in tune. And the Celtics are a team that shows this with their smaller lineups because they're definitely almost always smaller than the team they're playing. And how do they have success? Because they really use the system of teamwork with each other to their advantage. When the Raptors do that themselves, well, we see something like last night. We see them working and communicating well on defense and boxing out correctly. Well, this is what happens. This is what happens. Infamous is saying, salute freaks. Good fight by the team. If I have one critique, it's Scotty is got to learn how to pass better on the double team. Also, he's holding on to the ball way too long sometimes. Go Raps. I mean, these are nitpicky. I feel like it's hit and miss. I don't think that you're exactly right. I think he passes out the double team really well so far. Sometimes his vision's obscured. Sometimes he'll throw a really errant, crazy pass, and it's scary. Yeah. He's got things he can work out, iron out for sure. But honestly, like I said earlier, I feel like he's ahead on this in particular thing, that he's having more success with this than failure. And that, yeah, in a little bit being nitpicky, infamous, as far as how he's passing on the double team. Now, the other one about holding on the ball way too long sometimes, I don't know. I found that he sometimes makes too many passes. Like, I would like him to go up himself. Like, he's so unselfish. Sometimes he gives it to the next guy, and they're doing a layup instead. And I'm like, yeah, this is, Scott, you should have just took it up. You had the best shot. You had the most skill. You had the most strength. You should have took it up instead of giving it to Chris. Chris is skinnier, and he gets hit. Boom, he's not going to make it. So I find that situation happens often with me where I'm like, Scott, you stop being so unselfish. You take it up yourself. You take it up. You're right there. You've got great positioning. Look at how far away you are from the rim. You just need to elevate, and you can put it in. And he's dumping it off to Chris on the side of the basket instead. And then Chris is getting maybe fouled and put on the line, or he's getting hammered by somebody else, and it's not getting called. So let's see. Carlos saying, I slightly remember the name Air Canada with that dunk attempt from Nwora. Air Canada. Yeah, I don't know. There's only one Air Canada, and he played in the Air Canada Center, and that was Vince. Yeah. Carlos saying, not even worried about Scotty. This guy's on his way. Yeah, I'm not worried about it either. Honestly, Infamous, you're awesome. I love you, man. But let's not be too nitpicky. Let's let Scott have some mistakes along with his great success, because he's having a lot of success. Wayne saying, big up to Bruce Brown and Jalen McDaniels. Gary Trent Jr. is slowly coming out. We don't win without Gary. His points always put us over the hump. Biggest up goes to Coach Darko. His job is extremely difficult. Yeah, he's really good. Holy crap, he's so good. I'm so glad we've got him as our coach. Like, seriously, I can tell how good he is. In some ways, this game last night, He's a big part of the reason why we won last night, for sure. For sure. Now, like I said, Gary was the star of the game when we played against Miami and won the last game before. Like, he was the number one star. And once again, he was a number one star last night. And those are both the 2 wins we've had in the last 10 games. That, we haven't won any other games. The games when Gary is the leading scorer and he's the top guy, we won. What does that say? We need you, Gary. We need you in your 3-point shooting and your production offensively. And that'll give us a better chance to win, for sure. For sure. Fiercely saying, not to downplay our old players. They were competitive, but too nice. Dennis is ultra competitive and has a grit. He's a dog. Yeah. There was stuff going on the court. Like, Thad Young went up to Kobe White and talked to him about how proud he was, about how he had a hard time with him being in Chicago originally, but things have worked out, and now things are kind of gotten to the point where he can be out there and regularly and getting good production. And I guess Thad has a prior relationship with Kobe White, because there was a quote of him going over to him and talking to him that was on Twitter last night of mentorship from Thad to Kobe White on the other side. These guys have been teammates to so many different people around the league: Garrett, Otto, Thaddeus, Dennis. That they're going to have connections with opponents that we play, and in some ways, it is smart for us to look at the NBA as a family and realize that in some ways, as much as we're outsiders as the only Canadian team, the more we can be like more in common and kind of entwined with people because of that, and Dennis and Garrett and stuff like that, the better. Because in some ways that is a part of it being accepted and being like maybe more treated fairly in the NBA if we have more like familial or like friendly connections. As once again, I saw Scotty in the game last night to the side with Sean Wright, having a little back and forth talk, a discussion, and that is always good. They talked to Alvin during the broadcast last night. Matt said, "Did you talk to the refs all the time?" He said, "No, I never talked to the refs, and I didn't know their names. They were just, hey, Mr. Ref." And no, I didn't talk to the refs. We had guys on our team that talked the refs for us. Charles Oakley, Kevin Willis, people like that. The old heads would do all the talking to the refs. I didn't really do it. I didn't communicate with them or talk to them. I feel like in some ways that's a disservice to a player at this point. That in some ways you got to get to know them and charm them, and just kind of like you will get better favor with them. So when I see Scotty talking to Sean Wright and kind of going over stuff, and it's not like he's mad, he's kind of trying to get something explained to him. That's good. I saw this with Chris a couple years ago. Boucher was getting really bad calls, and then he started talking to the refs. He'd come over to them and discuss with them, well, how do you want me to do it? Or how could I do this where I would get a better outcome with the call? And they explained it to him, and he listened to them, and he started doing it, and he started getting calls. So any kind of communication between Scotty talking to people like Sean Wright and finding out what the refs look for and what they're doing is good. Because in some ways, like somebody said in our Facebook chat last night, if Scotty can figure out a certain move like Tatum or Embiid or LeBron has, that unlocks him getting in the free throw line a lot, that'll be good. And consulting with ref crews about like what that could be is very smart, because it could be he has a natural tendency that will lead to him getting to the foul line a lot, and that he needs to lean into it. And if he consults with referee crews about, well, how do you call this? Or what would you call it if I did it this way? That could be really, really good. And that could unlock his finishing move not his finishing move, but his move that gets him to the free throw line. As much as Trae Young had a move that he used the other night on us to bait the fouls off of us, that's what I'm talking about. That Scotty needs to develop a go-to move when he's aggressive and going to the basket, where the refs will give him a foul every time and put him on the line. DeMar DeRozan has this stuff. LeBron has this stuff. Luka has this stuff. Scotty needs to figure out what this stuff is for him, and then he'll get way more free throw attempts. And consulting with the refs is a great first step to figuring out how he can develop this, because they may tell him, they say, well, we'll call this if they hit you there. Every time you put your arm out and extend it this way and they hit you on the side, I'll see it. I'll put you on the line. That could be how some of that goes. Let's see. Chris is saying, with Scotty, his finish is nearly there. The shot selection is good. It's just he now has to deal with teams loading up on defense against him. but his pure power is enough. Just needs a fine tune. Yeah, it's insane. Like in some ways, it doesn't matter if they double or triple team him. He's still making shit over them. He's really that good. It's so crazy. It is so crazy. Fiercely saying also, now that Fred, OG, and Spicy P are gone, there shouldn't be any Scotty bashing. Many people wanted for him to be the focal point. So for them to complain, it's just weird. Some will never be satisfied. Yeah, this is a testament to idiots like he who shall not be named and other people. If they lost their targets, Fred VanVleet, Pascal, OG, whoever they were down on, and now Scotty's getting what they kind of wanted in the last couple years, why are y'all still complaining? I mean, seriously. This has been cleared out for him now. You guys were whining and complaining that these guys were in the way of Scotty being the best player he could be. Well, it's all cleared out now. Now, are these people shutting up? No, they're probably finding new things to complain about. And some of them may have been turning on Scott now. And that's what I say. Don't look at the name. Don't look at the person as if they profess themselves as Raptors fans. Look at the actions. Look at how they talk. Look at what they say. And then, like, determine for yourself, well, you don't sound like a Raptors fan. Like, seriously, in some ways, that's not constructively criticizing. That is just pure insulting and hating. And that's not what a fan would say about their team. You know, we can do this. We can tell people, you know what, fuck you. You're not really a fan the way you talk like that. We know what a fan behavior looks like. A real fan, a positive fan, somebody who actually cares about the team and wants them to win. And we know what a negative, sad sack piece of shit talking out of their ass because they just want something they could be criticizing and how they look too. It really is judged by the actions. Don't judge by the way they proclaim themselves. Judge them by how they say things and what they're saying. And it will tell you all you need to know about whether they're a fan or not. You know how fans act. Fans support their team and they get behind them and they love their teams. They don't hate their teams. They don't insult their teams. They don't kick their team when they're down. No, they don't. No, they don't. Blackhawks saying, good game. No criticism. Just enjoyed the game. There you go, Neil. And on that note, after my comment just now, Blackhawks going to get a dunk for just coming in and saying, no criticism. Good game. I enjoyed it. There you go. There you go. It's that simple. Neil's right. He's just right. Carlos saying, yes, 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 Lex. The system is sustainable. The system generates so much open looks. Yeah. And the great thing is there's so many different permutations and outcomes and different ways he could do it. And he can really fine tune it and tinker with it. And as new players come in, he can really add all kinds of crazy stuff. Like when he really starts orienting things around Emmanuel quickly and his skill set, it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really, really fun. In some ways, we haven't even really scratched the surface of the possibilities with RJ and Emmanuel as far as integrating them and really consciously making them a part of our focal point for offense and how we utilize their skills to make them the most efficient and effective. That's a philosophy that I can get behind every single day that Darko is about. And something that I hated about with Nick. We with the offense, we would always have really shitty shot selection or forced shots at the end of the shot clock because we couldn't work the ball around or get to a position where we got a good shot. And Darko's system is garnering such good shots. And his philosophy is keep passing until we get a very high percentage shot is so awesome. It's just great basketball theory and ethics and fundamentalism is you want best percentage shots, high percentage shots. Pass up the lower percentage shots to get the higher percentage shot. Make the extra pass. That kind of stuff is awesome. And the limits of it are not very much if you can figure out the skill sets of your players and interacting with them and getting everything moving around with the ball fluidly and not stagnating. Whoa, look out. Sustainability and all kinds of creative ways you can permutate it as you get different players and they really kind of learn it and get to know it better and better. Man, it is going to be so much fun. So much fun, Carlos. Chris is saying, also, we tied the 25 plus. Yeah, I was saying that. The 25 plus assist streak record. That's nuts, as the record was said to go back to the 80s Lakers. Yeah, that's Showtime's Lakers. We have the same kind of passing offense as Magic Johnson's Showtime Lakers at the height of the Showtime in the middle of the 80s. Yeah, that's something. I mean, there's been a lot of teams that have had a lot of great passing and a lot of high octane scoring, but they've never had this kind of assist that we have right now. You can think of D'Antoni teams, Phoenix teams, You can think of Paul Westhead, Denver Nuggets teams. They're scoring like 160 points a game. They didn't even get the amount of assists that we're getting right now with our team right now. That's amazing and incredible. And in some ways, I would wish that Open Gym and people around the Raptors would make more content on this kind of stuff, the achievements of our team, like our assist game against Detroit that y'all dropped the ball on, Jeff. Open Gym, that you didn't even do a damn little short segment on. The Raptors breaking their team franchise record for most assists in a game. What a fail. What a drop the ball, Jeff, in Open Gym, that you didn't even do a little short on that achievement. Well, how are you going to honor this? Because this is going to get broken on Friday night with Fred VanVleet and the Rockets. Yeah, and it'll be sweet to go up against our old point guard and beat a record that he wasn't a part of. A consecutive 25-plus assist games record that can be broken on Friday, and we'll be the sole owners of it, above the Showtime Lakers. That's amazing to me. That's absolutely awesome and so amazing and fantastic. I love it so much. We tied the record. We can break it on Friday, Carlo. That's what we can do. We can break it on Friday. Fiercely saying Bulls had two bigs, Drummond and Vucevic, and couldn't contain us. I saw comments of fans asking for Billy Donovan to be fired as they got cooked by the depleted Raptors team. Oh, well, laugh out loud. That's what I'm saying. We're venomous. Don't get beat by us because there's a poison afterwards, and your fans will freak out. And they'll be like, we lost to the Raptors. Hysteria. Yeah, I'll bet you. Bulls boards this morning are in shambles. And yeah, I feel bad for Billy Donovan. He's a great coach. That's not the issue. Your issue has started with Lonzo Ball. And it's just, that is the biggest problem. Your two biggest problems are Lonzo Ball and Zach LaVine. I'll say that right now. Those are your two biggest problems. If you had that money freed up for those two guys and utilized in ways around your team to make everybody better, keep those USC guys, you guys would be great, Chicago. It's just you got a big whole pile of hole in your salary cap called Lonzo Ball. And then Zach LaVine's playing, but he's kind of like the same thing, even though he's playing and not playing half the time. You need to free that money up too that's invested in him, that huge amount of money. Those funds, if they weren't involved in Ball and LaVine, the Bulls would divert them to other things. It would help the team. They'd be a good team. It's just those two guys have such a big part of their salary cap tapped up, and they're in some ways useless. Lonzo for sure. And Zach LaVine, he has his strengths and weaknesses, but in some ways he doesn't add up to winning. He really doesn't. He really, really doesn't. No, he doesn't. Let's see. Cowboy saying, Canadian Dana was looking for you at the game. Hopefully you still had a good time. Yeah, sounds like she did. She lost her voice. That's always a good sign. At least she made herself vocal and heard. Yeah, and she was right courtside. I'm sure they could hear her. Hopefully the 905 players were cheered on by her. Maybe getting that little extra energy up and down the court and doing amazing plays, partly because Dana was rooting them on. I'd like to think that. Chris is saying tie. That's what the Bulls TV crew said. Yeah, we tied it. We tied it last night. We can break it on Friday against Fred and Houston. Hopefully. I don't want to mess it up. I think it's pretty sure bet because honestly, the system, the way it is just conducive to get that amount of assists. Last year, I was just begging for us to get to 25 assists once. Nick could barely get us to 20. Like, seriously, we would have like 17 assists a game last year. And I'd be like, I was like, Nick, can we get 25 assists at least? And he's like, and it never happened. It would be like 16 assists, 17 assists. This year, it's like Darko's not happy unless we get 30-something assists. Winning. That is awesome. I love it. Let's see. Yeah. So Carlos saying next game breaks it against Fred. That's right. Most saying, I really want to say Yak returns versus the Rockets. Our threes were beautiful to see. Yeah. They shot really good from three last night. I felt like we had a capable 3-point shooting core, and Grady didn't even make one. It's crazy. Gary, Jordan, who is the other person? There were three of them that made most of the threes. Jordan had 4. Gary had 6. So that's 10 of them right there. And then Jalen McDaniels had 2. So there's 12 of our 14 threes and 3 guys. Gary, Jordan, and Jalen. Really, really awesome. Really, really awesome stuff. Really, really happy about it. Yeah, I'd like to see Yaka return against Sengun. I think that we, in some ways, he's a problem if we don't get Yaka back, maybe Thad could play him okay. But of course, I'm gonna keep saying, let's get Yaka back. Please, please, please. All right, Fiercely saying, go Shakina. This is awesome. Yeah, she's just reveling and just enjoying it. She's just been happy, so happy to see Thad Young's renaissance at this point in his career. Just amazing, amazing time for Thad and showing and proving a lot of things to his haters and naysayers and idiots out there. Yeah, you go, Thaddeus. Keep doing what you're doing. They asked that after the game about his kids. Are your kids left-handed just like you? He said, no, unfortunately, neither one of them is left-handed. They're both right-handed. They're coming up. Thad Young Jr. looking stronger and stronger in the highlights I see on Instagram. Fiercely saying, honestly, us fans, Thad and his family should be grateful he still has the capability to play. Some younger players struggle health-wise, and it is a blessing not to. Health is wealth. It's so true. So true. I mean, Coloco, look at that. In some ways, you can see like LeBron, and you'd be like, holy crap, this man is past 40 and he's still out there. He is so blessed and so lucky. Kyle Lowry, like the fact that he's still playing at his point, well, is he going to still be playing? We don't know. We'll have to see what happens to the trade deadline. But yeah, he's like 37 or something like that. It's amazing that Kyle still plays in the NBA, honestly, in some ways. The Thad Young was right when he said in the press conference after the game last night, y'all act like 35 is so old, but it really isn't. I'm a young guy in the whole scheme of things in life. I'm only 35. And when he said that, it really kind of makes you understand just how we aged NBA players in a weird way in our minds. Because the dude's 35. Like, if I told you that Thad Young is 13 years younger than me, would that seem weird? Because it does seem weird, doesn't it? I am 13 years older than Thad Young. Does that make sense? No, in some ways that doesn't, but it's true. And in some ways, he's exactly right. 35 is actually, it's amazing that he's played 17 years and he's only 35. In some ways, he should be as old as Lowry, like 37 or 38, and played this show. It's because he came in young, very, very young, Thad Young. So it's an interesting thing. You're exactly right, Fiercey. Health is wealth, and be grateful for good health. Carlos saying Nwora is from Buffalo, New York, close enough to being Canadian. Yeah, that's why he's a Bills fan. And that's why he went to that game. And even though Grady was a Kansas City Chiefs fan, they were kind of talking trash, and they both went to that playoff game together. Yeah, that's awesome. In some ways, that endears him to our team, is because in some ways the Raptors and Buffalo and just Buffalo in general with Toronto is very intertwined. In some ways, he probably came to Toronto a lot when he was a kid, when he lived in Buffalo. And, there's probably a lot of good fits because he's on Toronto with his hometown being Buffalo, as far as family being able to come to home games here, as far as, him being able to go back to Buffalo maybe on off days and hang out down there and see people because of proximity. So there's a lot of good stuff about Jordan Nwara's connection to Buffalo, New York, for sure. For sure. Jam Jost is here. Good to see Jam Jost. Wagwan rap family. I didn't see the game. I'm just glad we got it. The rewatch. Blaze them chronic. Smoke upon me chalice. Yes, man. Yes. Get the chalice. Get the smoke. Everything you need. Yeah, watch the rewatch for sure, Jam Jost. It's fun. You're going to see fun stuff with Jordan Nwora. You're going to feel good about Bruce Brown Jr., Gary Trent Jr., electric. Right from the start of the game, hitting his shot right away. And just being a badass. In fact, I feel like if anybody's getting the pluses of the absences of these guys, it's Gary. In some ways, everything is much more wide open without OG and Pascal around. And in some ways, Gary, in the system that's in, is more conducive for him to be successful. So let's see. Gary, you got to do this, man. Be more consistent. And man, I will be championing you and talking all of your best things every single morning on this channel at 9:30 in the morning. Yeah, you keep going. Gary Trent Jr. Kevin's here. Hey, Kevin, what's up, man? Hi, Raptor Freak. Long time no see. Good to see you, Kevin. Glad to see you back. And if any questions or comments, shoot them at me, and we'll go ahead and talk about it. Carlos saying, looks like Masai did it again with Nwora, 6'8" with that shooting. I was commenting yesterday in the Facebook chat of our group that in some ways Nwara's skill set is very particular, and there's like 3 skills he has, and they all really are helpful to us. The 3-point shooting is definitely helpful to us. That's the most obvious. Now, in some ways, him being 6'8" and kind of being a physical player and being like a rebounder is a really big thing that we needed. In some ways, I like that right now specifically, and it's showing in the last 2 games that he's played. In some ways, it was dumb that Darko didn't bring him in immediately after Jakob went out and the trade happened and we got him. And then the third thing that I really like about Jordan is that he is a team player and he has tenacity, and he's also looking to like he has athleticism, which is weird. Like there's some hidden stuff to him that I didn't understand about him. So really, the defense and rebounding, the 3-point shooting, and then just like he's got tenacity and like a dog in him. So those are like 3 things we really needed, and it's like specific skill set is actually fitting really well with us. Dana's saying, Cowboy, I was the loudest one there, right on the court. I'm going to go to more games. It was fun. I told the refs to get fired. Yeah, those refs yesterday, I don't know. The ref crew for the 905, there was a couple of stoppages where they're doing challenges and looking at kind of stuff a little bit. I don't know. It seemed like things were pretty good down there. Of course, I wasn't able to pay as close attention once the Bulls game came on. So I only watched really closely in the first part. And then like I was kind of side glancing at it every once in a while. So in some ways, I have to say that I didn't pay as much attention to the 905 game as I usually would, just because the Raptors game was on at the same time. Fiercely saying TNT posted the 5 players in danger of not playing the required 65 games to get accolades. No Raptor on the list. Halliburton and Embiid forgot the other 3, so sitting out is safe for us. Yeah, I love this. I love this. In fact, they're talking about this right now in Sixers Nation. They're really upset. Some people are really, really mad that Joel Embiid is not going to probably be a candidate for the MVP because he's going to miss too many games. In some ways, we could have predicted this, and we did at the beginning of the season. Nick Nurse is going to run Joel Embiid to the ground because he's going to overplay him. And, well, this happened. It's like Embiid and Maxey have both been out recently, and the Sixers have been losing. They lost to the Warriors last night. Oh, my gosh, y'all lost to the Warriors. That's like the Western Conference Raptors. Y'all got poison in you because you lost to the lowly Warriors who have been struggling and are having a really shitty time this year. Yeah, it's that bad. It's that bad. The funny thing is that he sat out against Denver on this West Coast trip, and the Denver fans were like trolling him, yelling at him. It's hilarious. So good. Yeah, this is something weird. Like, did y'all know that Joel Embiid has not played a game in Denver proper since we won the championship? Like, there's like 5 years of him ducking, playing the Denver Nuggets in Denver against Jokic. I think that's really fishy. Now, some people would say, well, it's the altitude. I'm sure it's like it doesn't work with him. And so, like, I don't know, whatever your fucking excuse is, it seems like that man's ducking Nikola Jokic. And in some ways, it's like, look, y'all might get in trouble for sitting your players unnecessarily with the rest policy with the NBA. So the Sixers were like, no, he's really hurt, and he's not going to play the next game. So they sat him the next game, even though they probably should have played him, probably wanted to. In the old NBA, they probably would have and said, yeah, he's just sitting for Denver because he's not well. Oh, yeah, sure. He's not well. He doesn't feel well. He doesn't feel well. He has some Jokicitis. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. Okay, well, he really isn't that well. We're not going to play him the next game, too, just to show you guys. All right, we believe you now. But remember, he's got to play 65 games to get any accolades this year. Oh, yeah, we're fine with that. Okay, we'll figure it out. Okay, all right, well, what's going on now? Oh, yeah, well, he's really hurt now in a different way now. Oh, really? Yikes. Well, what about that 65 game thing, Nick Nurse and the Sixers? Yeah, he's not going to get any awards because he's going to have to miss for real now. Well, maybe you shouldn't have sat him for stupid games before, like ducking Jokic, and you wouldn't have this damn problem. I'm just saying, you get what you get, Joel. And they made this rule partly for you. And, if you got half-ass the season, you don't get the awards. And I'm all for it. I love this. Some people, though, the other example you're bringing up, Halliburton, that is one that's kind of more tragic because in some ways he does really deserve accolades for his season this year. But if he doesn't get to 65, he's not going to get all NBA. In some ways, I could see that being like kind of tragic in some ways. But in some ways, no. Reward the guys who are there and play. If this is going to be the rule, they can't fudge it. They can't be like, wow, this is a special case. Tyrese Halliburton was really good, even though he didn't play 65 games. No, this is going to be the fucking rule. This is going to be the fucking rule. And everybody's going to have to follow it. And these players are going to have to try and play as often as they can. Because honestly, you're going to want to put in the bank as many games as you can play throughout the season early. If you're taking rest games early and you do get hurt later and you miss the games that takes you out of all the accolades, well, that's your own damn fault because you took rest games earlier in the season that you shouldn't have. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, these guys are going to get hurt and they're going to miss out on the accolades unfairly. It's too bad. But man, don't take those rest games early in the season because by the end of the year, you may need those injury games to make sure you get 65 games in the season, is what I'm going to say. In fact, I felt like this was what was going on with Siakam at times while he was still on our team. There was that one game where Siakam sat out, but then he played in the very next game. And I was like, you know what? He's got to do this just in case any funny, weird shit happens by the end of the year where he gets hurt and he misses a section of games and he doesn't get 65 games for the season. So in some ways, the mindset of the players should be, I got to add games on my numbers so I get to 65. I got to do this. In some ways, the rule is going to work really well. It's going to make these guys play more often. I think it's working already. And it's the folly of people not managing their players like Embiid well enough or good enough that's going to miss this. Don't miss games just for rest. You may need those games by the end of the season. That's what I would say. And, you know, Joel's taking double back-to-backs off, one night off of the back-to-back. Well, he's going to shave some of the games off of his overall number for the whole year. And he won't be involved in the MVP race. That's just how it is. It's the new rules. There you go. Yeah, I wasn't worried about this for us for a couple of reasons. We're most of our guys have been healthy and making most of the games. And the other thing is we're losing. We're not really going to be considered for a lot of the accolades at the end of the year. Monique's saying 905 are a waste of time. Ooh, but I did watch from the app because I have the app, but shaking my fucking head. Bye, Eric Curry. She wanted Dana to bring a sign down there and say, fire Eric Curry. I hope she didn't. In some ways, like, Mo, we can't do this. We got to try and be supportive and positive Raptors fans, even Raptors 905 fans, even if we hate Eric Curry and we think he's a waste of time. In some ways, my whole attitude about Eric is, well, he can't coach after this year, hopefully. Now, if they do something weird and they're going to say, yeah, we're keeping Eric as our coach going forward, I'm going to be like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Seriously. I mean, if you're really going to double down and keep him around and keep going, well, hopefully he gets better and better. But I don't see it. And it's going to piss off Monique if this guy isn't gone next year. I'm pretty sure he will be, and I'll be very happy. But he's not going to get fired before the end of the season. That would cause too much chaos with the Raptors 905 team, and it's already chaotic enough. So, yeah, we've stuck with him till the end of the season. And even writing a sign that says fire Eric Curry, it's not helpful right now because they've made their bed with him. They got to lie in it with him. At least until this summer. Cowboy saying, I'm sure you were the loudest. Yeah, I'm sure she was. She's all out. She's just going to go all out. She's doing something. She's doing 100%. I'm sure that Dana's like that. I'm sure she is. Yeah, I'll be proud of her. I wish I'd heard her. In some ways, I couldn't have the volume up on that. I had the volume up on the other one. Let's see. Milbester's here. All right. New York Nick fan in the house. Milbester, good morning, Lex. The Raptors end their five-game losing streak. Why do you say 5 to 7 game losing streak? It was just a 5-game losing streak. What is that? Come on, Milbester. Don't shade me. Nice win in Chicago versus the Bulls. Well, the Knicks are in the 3rd seed. We passed the Sixers. They have Maxey, other injuries, plus Embiid not healthy, and beat the Jazz. Great win. Yeah, good for you guys. You guys have the best record since the calendar changed. You know it's because of our guys coming to y'all. Even with OG out, you're seeing the pluses of Precious Achua on your team. And yeah, Jalen Brunson is electric right now. In fact, he may be the hottest player in the league right now with the way he's playing. So yeah, revel in it. Enjoy the good times, Milbester. Knicks fans have not always had good times. And in some ways, you guys need to enjoy it and soak it up right now. I'm so happy that you guys are above the Sixers now in the standings. Now beat them when it counts and eliminate them from contention for the Larry O'Brien. Then I'll really, really like you guys. Really a lot. Dana's saying the Maine Celtics rested one of their best players yesterday, the dude with the big hair. Yeah, J.D. Davidson. He's their best player, the lion-haired guy. Yeah, he was hurt, and I knew he wasn't going to play before the game. I believe I should have said something about it, but yeah, he's very good. He's going to probably play today, is what I'm hearing. I think they said that during the broadcast, Dana, that JD will be available today to play against us in this game. That they were going to hold him out one of the two back-to-back games, and that he'll play tomorrow. Today, see, he'll play today. Yeah, Kevin's saying we won shorthanded. Imagine us with our full lineup. We'd be a very hard team to beat in the nearest future. Sometimes it's the recipe of that night. It may have been if we had RJ or Emmanuel, it may not have worked as well because some guys may not have gotten the minutes that they got. In some ways, it's a weird thing to kind of like, yeah, we're shorthanded. But if we had had those guys, we don't know what the outcome would have been. It could have been different. It could have been we were lost. I don't know. We can't really change it or anything. I think we are better with Emmanuel and RJ and Jakob playing for us for sure. I think that makes sense, Kevin, for sure. But yeah, I don't know how it would have been though, because in some ways you could say maybe Jordan Nwora wouldn't have played as much. That's an interesting brain exercise. Blackhawks saying 905 game is a different feeling. Building is smaller. The parking is great. You don't have to pay. That just sounds awesome in all kinds of ways. I'm going to definitely go out there at some point. Maybe I'll get out there once I make my move and I have a vehicle. Maybe I'll make a field trip out there to see a 905 game on purpose. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I think I will. It may not be this season. It may have to be next year when I go out there for the first time. Carlos saying Nwora just has that hooper skills that Precious wants to learn. I mean, it's interesting that you guys want to keep comparing Nwora to guards and centers. In some ways, I really do look at Nwora as not being like a lot of the people you guys keep comparing him to. I mean, there's some similarities between him and Precious, but not really. Not really. They're different kinds of role players. Milbester saying Precious has been settled in the past couple games. Took him time to get used to the team, but fans shouldn't have booed him so soon. The Knicks are 5 games back a second seed Bucks, but past the Sixers for the third seed. Yeah, you said that already. Yeah, y'all need to be nice to Precious. He's a favorite of mine. I think he's a badass. He's a native son to y'all city, and he's going to have a learning curve. There's going to be some games where you guys are going to hate him and be absolutely pissed at him like you did already. And then there's going to be games where you're just like, holy shit, look at how many blocks he has. Holy crap, look, he got double-digit rebounds in like 15 minutes. How did he do that? Just respect his game and what he does and wish for him to develop and get better offensively because honestly, there's some stuff there that's untapped with him that could be very, very nasty if he gets the right kind of development and strides in his game. He could be very, very nasty in the next couple of years if he unlocks himself. I don't know if he ever will, though. That's the thing. Stargate saying, did you see Scotty's face when Nwora attempted that dunk? Laugh out loud. Yeah, it was awesome. The whole bench went crazy. I love the happiness and the good times of the Raptors bench. In some ways, everything's been so confusing and kind of tough. You lose 5 games in a row. It can be really kind of downer. Well, I was so happy to see the jubilant, joyous faces and happiness and celebrating. And I'm so glad they won. In some ways, I was setting myself up to get a ref hit job or get the loss somehow, some way to the Chicago Bulls, DeMar DeRozan. In fact, we saw a little bit of that alpha superstar battle in the fourth quarter where DeMar's trying to do his shit to imprint his will on the game. And then Scotty's matching it on the other side with doing his things to try and imprint his will on the game. It was good. Scotty did some really dominant stuff in the fourth quarter at one point where he did absolutely like top level superstar LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo kind of take over the game kind of stuff. And it was at both ends of the court. It was on the defensive end and on the offensive end, doing major, major stuff. Scotty is so good, y'all. He's so good. Trevor saying NBA Chev said Masai pulled another rabbit out of the hat with Jordan. That man is good at his job. Yeah, I see that Chev's kind of apologizing for not understanding Jordan Nwora and who he actually is. I don't know if he made a gut reaction to the trade and he's like, oh, this guy. My gut reaction was, Nwora, yeah, let's go. And I'm glad it's paying off. I mean, once again, I feel like my eye as a scout and kind of my how I look at NBA talent is very honed and in a good place. When I'm like calling Jordan Nwora out of that whole deal, I'm like, look, watch, y'all. Nwora is going to be the best guy we get. Forget about Brown. Kyra, whatever. Those draft picks are going to turn into something even better, I'm sure. But right now, the players that we just got out of that Pacers trade, Nwora is the guy y'all really like. Watch. And it took a couple games before he appeared, and then boom, it's happened. It has happened. Let's see. Nameless is saying Gary Trent Jr. averaging 14 points per game with 51% shooting from three as a starter. Okay, maybe there is something to the starter versus bench thing. Laugh out loud. No, it's not that. Honestly, it's spacing. It really is. It's spacing. The spacing is way wide open when we don't play any bigs. And maybe that's more conducive. I think some ways it's he's getting help because there's other good shooters out there also. Like in the past, Gary would be the only capable three-point shooter last year. So they could like really guard him on the three, and they'd leave like Scotty open, Pascal open. They dare us to shoot with those guys, and they'd really hedge up on Gary. Now, if Gary's out there with Grady, Jordan, Scotty, really good three-point shooters other than him, then they can't kind of crowd him on the three-point line and kind of really focus on him. It's kind of like what we were talking about with Scotty and Pascal when they become the man and the focus goes on them. Well, there's only one good three-point shooter on the Raptors. The other team will take him out, and that's part of the reason why Gary would struggle is because they really shadow him because he was the most capable guy to shoot threes. So you put him on the court with more spacers and shooters like Grady, Jordan Nwora, all of a sudden he's way more open because they have to respect those other guys and go guard them too. So I think that's more indicative of what's happening than the starting versus the bench. It's more that the spacing's wide open. We have more shooters now, and he's thriving in that. He's thriving in that environment. Milbester saying the NBA trade deadline is next week, February the 8th. Knicks are definitely planning their next move. Seems like Nets will not trade Mikal, but the Knicks could still get him in 2 years when he's a free agent anyways. Okay. All right. Thanks for the Villanova Knicks update. Crazy run of 8-win streak. Knicks did twice last season. 14 wins in January ties the best record in their history since 1994 when I was born. The whole city is shocked of their transformation. Y'all need to thank OG Anunoby. Y'all need to write him as a legend. See, this is the thing. New York, you never needed a hero to come save you that was a scorer. You needed a hero like OG to come and save you that was a defender. And boy, has he changed things for y'all. Y'all are a winning team because of his defensive influence and the way he plays. It is OG. You better make sure that the city of New York gives all their congratulations and applause and thanks to OG Anunoby for coming to your team and playing for y'all now. And in some ways, you should thank Masai Ujiri for finally making the deal and allowing y'all to acquire OG Anunoby. Because honestly, a lot of other teams in this league wanted him too. And y'all are the lucky ones blessed to have him, just so you know. So that's how I would say it there. Bryce is saying, good morning, Lex and the Raptor Freaks. How do you feel about moving Jakob and Dennis to the Thunder for some young talent and picks? Poku, Treyman, Bertans, 2 first and second. I got a sticker. Bryce, I'm going to say this. You're rehashing the trade that was proposed by Andre Snellings on ESPN in a stupid article called 5 Trades I'd Like to See Before the Trade Deadline. That trade is stupid. First of all, I don't like that trade in any kind of way. I really don't. First of all, we want Jakob. Jakob is those players are players we're keeping because they're both players we value. I don't value that package coming from them. I don't want Alexi Poku. I really don't. Even if he has the same name as me, I don't want him. That's the wrong Trey Man. We want Terrence Mann from the Clippers, friend of Scotty. We don't want Trey Man from the Thunder. And Bertans, fuck Bertans, goofy ass Latvian motherfucker with his goofy ass look and his goofy ass shooting. And we don't want that package. I don't want any of that. We have enough picks already, and we need a center and we need a backup point guard. So none of that shit is that's not a trade I want. That's a trade that Andre Snellings wants. And he's an ESPN writer, and he has nothing to do with the Raptors, and he really doesn't know what's good for us anyway. So fuck that trade. Fuck Andre Snellings and him putting that out there. And y'all keep bringing it to me. This is the second day in a row somebody's brought that very exact trade. I know where it came from, and in some ways, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder, to be honest. I really, really don't. In some ways, unless it's SGA, don't even fucking talk to me, Sam Presti, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's see. Chris is saying Nwora versus Precious. Good assessment. Nwora has a better mind for the game. He moves a bit slower on D, but is athletic enough. Maybe Darko can send him the Serbian D tough up school that he sent Grady. Yeah, I don't know about. Nwora is good on D. He's very scrappy on D. In fact, he was the one who caused them to lose the ball at the last second, Hawks, so that Grady got the ball and gave it to Scotty for that go-ahead basket. No, Nwara's defense is really good already. I'm not totally sure what you're trying to say as far as like telling Nwora to go get better on defense. He's a really good defender already. Milbester saying Anunoby missed the last 2 games with elbow inflammation, but the defense has settled in since they got him in a trade. They need him for a Pacers home game at Madison Square Garden, 6-game homestead, and 13 home games coming up. All right, Milbester. You came in before 11, so I'll read them. Chris is saying Gary isn't as fat as he was to start the year. Okay, all right. Could also be the sand beach work as he was doing in the summer gave him the foot issues. Either way, listen, he's more dialed in. He's more confident. Maybe he's getting the ball in rhythm better from the passers like Dennis and Scotty. Either way, he's playing better. We can say that. And it's just maybe the shot's just falling now and the spacing is better. Carlos saying Serbian D school of hard knocks really hardened. Yeah, you guys want me to say this kind of shit. Made him ate steak and potatoes all day. I don't even know what happened with Grady. I don't know if it's that much of a transformation that y'all think. They made him go lift weights some. They maybe talked to him very seriously about NBA defense and what it takes to stop somebody and how you can't be weak ass and you can't do this. And that, maybe he just intelligently understood what they were saying and boom, he stopped doing some of the stupid shit he's been doing. There's a lot of different ways that this could be. There's a lot of different ways. Let's keep going. Bryce has got the lineup. Yeah, you got the stickers, Bryce, because you're a member. You got a membership yesterday or something. David gifted them to everybody, and now you're a member. So, Bryce, if you want to add me on Facebook, you can find me on Facebook now and join because you're a member of the channel. Race was saying, "Good morning, Lex and the crew. Great win last night. It's too bad we won." I'm just kidding, Lex. What's the details behind the first round pick from the Pacers? I don't know what the background is. All right, the picks we got from the Pacers, 3 of them. 2 of them are this year. 1 of them is next year, and the 2 picks are the worst picks from what they acquired from other teams like Oklahoma City and Houston, and whatever the 2 worst picks that they end up being, depending on how people finish, we'll get those 2 picks out of Indiana's first round picks. So they're projected to be in the 20s. Both of the picks this year from Indiana are projected to be in the 20s. So we got the first pick in the second round from New York. It's Detroit's pick. And then we've got our protected pick with the Spurs. If we are bad enough, we keep that one. But we could also trade the 20 picks in the first round and consolidate them to go higher in the first round. And I think that's what Masai will do. If I'm really reading things correctly, he doesn't want to take 4 guys in the draft this year. He wants to maybe trade some of these picks down to maybe 1 pick. And then he'll have like maybe 2 picks in this draft is what I could say, 2 or 3 instead of 4. I don't see him picking all 4 of them. It doesn't make any sense. So does that make any sense for you, Edmund? As far as those picks from Indiana should be in the 20s of the first round. Yeah. Milbester saying Raptors and Heat on long losing streaks and Toronto snaps theirs. But East has gotten crazy. Sixers from 3rd to 5th. Knicks from 4th to 3rd. Cavs leapfrog the Sixers too from 5th to 4th. Yeah, good. Bury the Sixers. Keep going down. I'm all about that. Let's see. Infamous saying, I don't know if you mentioned it, but what was your opinion on Carmelo mentioning RJ being a bland player? I didn't hear this. First of all, I don't care. What does fucking Carmelo have to say anyway? In some ways, he's an idiot because look, he played for the Knicks, and a lot of ways, Carmelo and RJ were very similar as players for the Knicks. They were both really good scorers and kind of focal points on the offense. In some ways, I could compare Carmelo's game to RJ's very closely. So are you saying that your game is bland too? Because honestly, Carmelo, your game is not any more interesting than RJ's. In some ways, you're bland, bro. And who cares what Carmelo Anthony thinks? He's an idiot. He's lately said that Jokic stole his number in Denver. Fuck you, Carmelo. Like, listen, I get it. You're like LeBron's buddy. You're a guy who was in the league for a long time. A lot of people celebrate you. I don't. I honestly don't. I think that he was a wasted player. I think that he was more style than substance. I think that he was a good scorer, but he wasn't a well-rounded player. He wasn't a winning player. I think he's overhyped. I think that the fact that he's upset with Nikola having his number in Denver is a joke because honestly, even though Denver fans say y'all are equal in their eyes and you're both important, not to me. I think that Nikola Jokic, he laps you by like 10 times, Carmelo Anthony. That in some ways your importance in the history of the NBA is overblown. You honestly should be like a Bernard King. You should be like a Rolando Blackman. You should be like an Alex English, a prolific scorer that scored a lot of damn points in this league, but never won anything and should be kind of a footnote and forgotten. If they're not going to talk about 25 to 30 point scores from the 80s, the 70s, that never won anything, why the fuck should we talk about you? Is what I would say. Seriously, why should we talk about you, Carmelo? Because you were an Olympic champion and you had really good international success. Okay, in that arena, we can talk about you as being one of the greats, but not in the NBA. No, you were on teams that were bad a lot of the time, and in some ways, you were just a scorer and a selfish one at that. So him having an opinion about RJ, I don't give a shit. In some ways, he's an idiot. And in some ways, he's an overblown player, partly because of his friendship with LeBron. And in the history of the NBA, he should be just as talked about as fucking, I love Bernard King. And this is not a slight to him. He's a great player. So is Carmelo. But, Bernard King gets forgotten. He gets forgotten. And in a lot of ways, Carmelo had this kind of career that he should be forgotten over time, too. He really should. His overimportance is really because of his connection to James. He props him up and he brings him up with him. And because they're buddies. In some ways, Carmelo is just as important to me as Michael Redd. He's just as important to me as Mitch Richmond. He's just as important to me as World Be Free. These guys all had big scoring, great careers too. And they're not talked about or important or anything. It's the same fucking thing with you, Carmelo. What did you win? What did you fucking do? Yeah, you scored a lot of points in the NBA. Okay, whoop-de-doo. You scored a lot, but did you win? No, you didn't. And that number is Nikola's. He's a 2-time MVP, motherfucker. And he's got a championship for the Nuggets. You never won nothing for the Nuggets. So that man, he deserves that number. If you were so good for the Nuggets, they would have retired your number and he would have never gotten it, is what I'm going to say right now. Yeah, that's what I have to say to Carmelo Infamous. Yeah, maybe a little bit more than you thought I'd say. David's saying, always found the nickname Steady Freddy funny. 2023, 2022 season, his field goal in clutch was 29.9%. Game over. No, Steady Freddy's a great nickname for him. And Steady Freddy was in effect with Villain Dylan. His steadiness got Villain Dylan out of trouble. It's like, Steady's over here, come get you and bring you away from the altercation with Jared Vanderbilt. Yeah, that's Steady Freddy, keeping things steady with Dylan Brooks and not let him be crazy. Yeah, listen, let's not sully Fred. Fred was a clutch player. Fred had really good clutch numbers. You can give me his stats and all this kind of stuff. Nah, bullshit. He won games for us. He does it for Houston now. And I'm not selling him on this same thing that you're doing, David. It's not fair. He is Steady Freddy. And I would trust him with big shots at the end of the game, just like he did when he was playing for us. I live and die with Fred VanVleet. You can get upset about it, but not me. I love the man. He did good things for us. He won games for us. Racimo's saying, when does Yacht come back? I don't know. I told you he'd be back for the Clippers game, and they've decided that they are going to do the underground tank, obviously. This is like, honestly, I thought he'd be back 3 games ago. He should have been on the normal timeline of injuries. He should have been back for the Clippers last Friday, but now he's missed 3 more games. So I don't know, Edmund. I can't tell you. I wish I could say he's going to be available to play against Houston on Friday, but I can't. I can't tell you that. I can't tell you if any of those 3 guys are going to be playing on Friday. I don't know. We'll have to see. We could have easily been top 10 even with the trade. I blame Pascal again. Just kidding. Yeah, I don't think that's honest. I don't think we would be top 10. In some ways, everything that's happened this year has gotten us to where we are, and that's just that. We can't woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's just how it is. Most saying W Stream Lex all around. Keep at it always. Good times. Go Raptors. Let's keep climbing. Raptor Freak family crew. Hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you, Monique. I appreciate the cutoff at 11. Very much appreciate it. Cool Cat saying good morning, Raptor Freak crew. We got a W. Yeah, I love it. David saying, all right, 11 a.m. Let's get this party started. Cool Cat. All right, y'all. Don't go too long because I'm gonna leave at like noon. Just cut off and leave. Let's see. Randolph saying Lex, Scotty is so advanced that most of the players around him are not able to play with him as Thad. Those passes that Thad caught, if other players can keep up. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. In some ways, he understands Scott's going to get him there. I think that they're actually working a lot together. I think that the connection between Thad and Scotty is really special right now. Honestly, there's a lot of trust there. And there's a lot of, really cool stuff happening. I mean, they make each other look good. And Scotty wants to look good out there. So his teammates that make him look good, like Gary hitting a three and giving him an assist, those are the guys he really likes. And Thaddeus is definitely one of those players that's making him look good right now, for sure. David saying, let's get it. Bam. Carlos said, that's crazy assist numbers. We don't even play Darko's system exactly right. Yeah, I think that's true. I don't think the team has unlocked 50% of Darko's system. Yeah, I mean, we just got RJ and Emmanuel. They don't know exactly what they're doing. We're going to unlock them more and more with purpose within the system, like on purpose. That's going to change. It's going to be even crazier. Yeah, I love this assist game we're playing. It's risky in ways, but it really pays off, and we see some amazing stuff too. Let's see. Fiercely saying, I thought we broke the record and congratulated the team on the NBA YouTube page. Oops. No, we tied it, and we will break it on Friday. Mel Bester, the cutoff is there. I'm going to, if you do anything that's not to our content, I'm going to just skip over you, every single one of them, because the cutoff is there, my man. We have a very strong cutoff at 11, and that's that. David's saying, what happened to Nameless's comments? I don't know where Nameless went. He's probably still here. Milbester saying, Lex, I saw a Raptors fan on a European live stream site last night on Chat Tango site. He's great with original Rogo. That's cool. We're all over the place. We had Raptors fans sitting right behind Alvin and Matt at the game. The guy was wearing an old purple Raptors jacket, and he was like, yeah, when he saw Scotty do something good in the fourth quarter, getting loud. We heard him yelling, let's go, Scotty, all through the game, through our announcers' headsets, because he was sitting right behind them. Better than the guy that was yelling the other day when Malvin was like wanting to punch the guy because he was yelling, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah. I think that was in Miami. I'm not sure where that was, but it was pretty funny. All right, 11:18, y'all. Cut off. Fiercely saying, David, I should delete my comments, but I got so many likes. No, it's all good. Nameless is saying, I want Derek Lively in a Bruce Brown trade package. He's a rookie. It's really hard to trade for a rookie when teams are still trying to figure him out, especially Derek Lively is playing well for their team, and they're probably coveting him. He's at a great price. And no, people don't like trading rookies, especially if they're doing well. Let's just put it that way. Race Mode saying, sorry, Milbester, I spoke to Chev about this. We're not Knicks fans until Dolan is out. I'm definitely rooting for the success of OG, Precious, and Malachi. By the way, OG is coming back to Toronto. You're messing with Milbester. Okay, that's Race Mode, of course, has a history as a Knicks fan, and he's saying he's not a Knicks fan until James Dolan is gone. Well, you better hope that rape trial gets him, because that could do it. That could do it right there. You rape a massage therapist on the Eagles tour, James Dolan, you get what you get, JD and the Offenders, whatever your fucking band name is. Yeah, you do that, you get what you get, and maybe you go to jail. But maybe that doesn't mean he loses ownership of the team. Maybe it does. Donald Sterling. Maybe it does. Phoenix Suns. Maybe it does. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe James Dolan will not be the owner soon. And Adam Silver will be a big smile on his face. And we'll have a lawsuit dismissed. And his corny ass will be in jail because he raped a woman. Yeah, James Dolan. You did that shit. I know you did. Nameless saying, I don't think we can afford OG Race Mode. I don't see it. He's joking with him. He's just messing with him. He's just prying on the insecurities of the new teams that our guys are on and then circling back to us. Milbester saying Dolan will be out soon. He said a while back that he doesn't feel like owning the team anymore. Yeah, he's in trouble. He's in legal trouble. He's got a lawsuit just like Donald Trump with E. Jean Carroll, where he's going to get nailed for being a sexual predator. And James Dolan will get in trouble for that. He may go to jail, just like Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, he says he's that kind of person. He's preying on women behind the scenes and like using his power to do this kind of shit. Vince McMahon kind of shit. That's what's going on. Jam Judge is saying, this is random because I missed yesterday's stream. But when LeBron got popped by Brooks, I popped a champagne of Moet Good times. That's off the backboard, bro. All right, Jam Joes. You're celebrating Dylan Brooks, popping LeBron James. I'm giving you a dunk. I'm giving you a dunk because that's funny. That's funny to me. Do you watch Angry Old Hoops Fan? He's been on fire lately on his channel with his anti-LeBron commentary and stuff. Let's see. Milbester saying it's a big deal when Michael Kay, the Yankees broadcaster, mentions the Knicks on WFAN radio in New York with his show daily lately with Don L.A. Greca and Pete Rosenberg. The whole city is back like in the 90s. Okay, that's a lot of names I don't know, and I get it. You guys are happy about the Knicks. You're enthusiastic, and even Yankees Nation's bringing them up. Name is saying, all right, Lex, well, you can keep banging your head off the door, but I ain't doing it with you. I don't even know what you're talking about. Banging my head off the door. I wonder what I did. Let's see. Milbester saying, also, Lex, Siakam is coming to MSG on Thursday. Pacers versus Knicks. Hope OG is back from 2 games he missed with elbow inflammation. Pacers beat us the night RJ and IQ were traded before they got Siakam. Also, it would be crazy to see 2 former Raptors go against each other. We see this all the time. I see that when Kyle Lowry goes up against DeMar DeRozan, Miami versus Chicago. We see this. And at this point, we have a rooting interest in a lot of teams in the league with our former players being in other places. If we're going to be in this place where we are with our franchise right now, well, at least we can vicariously root for other teams like the Knicks, the Pacers, the Rockets, the Clippers, and hopefully one of those teams wins the championships this year. In some ways, that's what I'm kind of in that mode with the Raptors. I tempered expectations for our own team, but I really have high expectations for somebody like Siakam or OG as far as their new teams and what they could possibly do. So in some ways, there is a rooting interest I have for the Knicks going into the postseason. Maybe not as much as these other teams. Like, I'd love the Western teams to do better, like the Rockets and the Clippers. If they're in the finals, one of those 2 teams, that'd be awesome. I don't think the Rockets are likely, but the Clippers are. Clippers could be very likely. And then the Pacers. I would love to see them in the finals on the Eastern side. That would be awesome. In some ways, I wouldn't be as happy if it was the Knicks. Just because I know y'all will get really, really, really cocky. And Knicks Nation, even if y'all win like a playoff series, y'all are going to go crazy and big in your britches in a way that's going to be really annoying and nobody really wants. Because y'all kind of get like that when you have success. You get a little too fucking annoying. Let's just put it that way. Maybe win with pride and kind of like limited kind of like gloating and kind of just being overly over. Because in some ways, y'all won a playoff game, if I remember correctly, in the last couple of years, and y'all took to the streets like y'all won the championship. Like, what the fuck is that, Knicks Nation? Seriously, it doesn't take much to get y'all out there. Y'all are going to be fans that make fun of Patrick Beverley for celebrating a play-in win. Meanwhile, y'all get in the streets when y'all win like a playoff game. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, just calm down. And maybe don't be so arrogant, and maybe I'll get behind y'all and root for y'all further into the playoffs. But if I see y'all get crazy over just a little bit of success and get really arrogant and like bullying and talking shit in a lot of different places, Knicks Nation, yeah, I'm going to say fuck y'all. I don't care if OG's on y'all's team. So handle it with dignity and pride and kind of rein yourself in and be like a little bit more realistic. In some ways, when y'all overreact to success, just like the Leafs do it in the NHL. The Leafs win the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Everybody goes crazy. Leafs fan gets all big in their britches. Then they fail in the second round of the Panthers. It's the same kind of shit. I see the Knicks have some success in the playoffs. They get all big in their britches. And then they fail anyway. And you guys come crashing down. So maybe temper yourselves with the success you may get this playoffs. And maybe you'll go further. That's what I would say. Let's see. Wayne saying, we had to straighten Chev out. Raptors freaks debated amongst ourselves, and paying top dollar for 3 seasons of losing don't compute. Chev fails to admit NBA prefers Knicks. OG getting good calls now. Yeah, that's interesting. I want you guys to get along with Chev and the Chev people for sure. And I know a lot of y'all are both Raptor freaks and Chev people. Yeah, without knowing the specifics of what you guys were debating with Chev, I'm not going to opine on this myself. I like the direction we're going in, and I think the Raptors are going to bounce back quicker than a full rebuild. Milbester saying the Knicks have a lot of top 10 protected picks too, Lex. Same with the Raptors. They can trade some of them for other players. Knicks are definitely getting the Dallas top 10 first-round pick, which conveys. Yeah, and that's from the Jalen Brunson trade, I'm sure. Yeah. Let's see. Or no, you didn't trade. You signed him as a free agent, I think. Carlos saying sad but true. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with Chev World. As I said, I don't really keep tabs on him closely. I just hear what you guys are saying. Nako saying Carmelo averages are worse than Jokic's anyway. Yeah, he only scored. He didn't do anything else other than score. He barely rebounded. So yeah, I mean, it's a joke. I want to go off on Carmelo Anthony every day if y'all want me to. I mean, he's a nice guy. In some ways, he is what he is, but let's not get it twisted. He's a Rolando Blackman of his time. He really is. He really, really is. Let's see. Carlos saying Jokic winning ways completely erases Carmelo's legacy. In some ways, yeah. In some ways, Carmelo's legacy is more intact in New York than it is in Denver. In Denver, it's like, what did he do in Denver? He didn't do jack shit. He had more success with the Knicks in New York. And in some ways, his legacy should be more tied to them. Just give up on your Nuggets ties, Carmelo. In some ways, even though they drafted you, even though you were with them most of your early career, it doesn't fucking matter. Jokic has totally eclipsed you. Totally eclipsed you. And that number is his. Trust me, that's his. Milbester's giving me a cutoff too. What a turn of events. I got Milbester in here giving me a cutoff. I love it. I'm going to give you a dunk for that, Milbester. You're funny. That's awesome. All right, let's see. He's saying, or Kevin saying, Nwora should be part of our bench moving forward. I agree. I like that, Kevin. And Milbester saying, I'm more shocked that Heat traded Lowry for Rozier. They went 7-game losing streak since the trade. When was the reason behind the trade from Miami? What was the reason? I don't know. There, in some ways, people really didn't like Kyle there. A lot of the fans didn't like him. In some ways, I see there was friction, maybe possibly between Lowry and Vasquez, their new rookie, because he unfollowed him immediately. In some ways, that's a tell that says Kyle didn't really like you. And it's like, if I wanted to stay friends with you, I'd continue to follow you on Instagram. But I'm unfollowing you specifically. So in some ways, maybe he was threatened by Jaime Vasquez coming in and saying Jimmy Butler's my favorite player, and I want to know everything about him and learn him and get real close to him. And maybe Kyle's like, no, dude, this is my guy. In fact, I came down here to be buddy with Jimmy and enjoy playing with him. And now all of a sudden you're trying to get in between us, trying to be like, nah, dog. Jimmy and I are good forever in real life, and he's my dude. And it's like, well, I just love him. He's my idol, and I want to play more like him. Dude, you're bugging me. I don't like you. Well, I don't know what to say, Lowry. I don't know. It could have been a couple different things. You know, Pat Riley told him he's too fat and you need to lose weight. You know, whatever it is, they messed up with Lowry as far as like honoring him and sending him down the river. Some of the Heat fans are being so disrespectful to Lowry in his return. They're saying, great, now Goran's number is safe from fucking Lowry taking it during these last couple years. Fuck that shit. They never liked Lowry being in number 7 in the Miami Heat jersey, because there's a lot of Goran stands that hated it. And as soon as Lowry was traded, these guys celebrated that Goran's number was freed from the awful Kyle Lowry wearing Goran's celebrated Miami Heat 7. It's such a weird, bizarro world down there. Let me just tell you that. Yeah. Milbester's saying a couple more and I'm done. Okay. Lex, so the NHL All-Star game in Toronto, but MetLife Stadium will host 2 NHL games for Winter Series. Okay, I don't care about that. Yeah, we know we got the All-Star weekend this weekend here in Toronto, and that's why the NBA had to get scarce for a while. Let's see. Not really, Carlo. Carmelo turned the Nuggets franchise around when he was drafted. They just got bumped into Kobe and the Lakers when they had won twice, but Carmelo should have came back to Denver to win. So you didn't want him to come to your team? All right, and last one, Milbester. Don't you write anymore. I got 7 minutes. I want to be done by noon. Vasquez is good player. I saw his story on Univision, and he's Hispanic too, from UCLA to NBA. Great story. Rooting for him. Yeah, okay, that's great. That's your own thing. Wayne saying Chev admitted he was over the top, missing Pascal and OG. We're all good. It's strange seeing all the new faces in Raptors uniform, but we value effort and positive results. Bye. Okay, so that's what it was. He was overreacting to the trades and saying that we messed up, and maybe he was like this and this, but now he's seeing a little bit more people like Jordan. And he's come down to earth, and he's maybe realized he overreacted. Okay, thanks for elaborating kind of the drama around NBA Chev in recent week as far as things. And Carlos saying, not really, Milbester. Denver turned around when they traded Carmelo. Yeah, I don't know who's exactly right. I don't really care. It's Carmelo Anthony. I don't give a shit. Did he do anything? Did he win anything? No, he didn't. Fuck him. In some ways, I think Dikembe Mutombo was more interesting as a Denver Nugget with that one game that they played the Sonics. And they came back, and Mutombo is holding the ball above his head on the floor. Yeah, that iconic image is way more burned in my head than anything Carmelo Anthony did with the Denver Nuggets team. There's way better important things with the Nuggets franchise than what Carmelo did with that team, as far as I'm concerned. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Let me just recap real quick. The Raptors beat the Bulls last night by 11. My 5 stars of the game were Gary Trent Jr., Thaddeus Young, Jordan Nwora, Bruce Brown Jr., and Dennis Schröder. Honorable mention to Scotty Barnes and Jalen McDaniels. The Maine Celtics beat the Raptors 905 by 8 points. It was sad and pathetic in some ways. My 3 stars of that game were Justice Winslow, Kobe Simmons, and Daryl Morsell. There's a game today with the Raptors 905 with the Maine Celtics, the back-to-back second game. Brent Haskell, Blanca Burns, and Castine Evans are the 3 refs for that game. Instagram stories. We got Mr. New York City put his lady on blast on his Instagram stories. We got Thad Young showing off the young boys. I tell you, Thad Young Jr. looks way taller than the competition. He just looks way more astute in what he's doing out there. He's going to be a good one. He's going to be a good one. Let's see. This is what Thad's saying about his kids. For me, it's always going to be about my family, Young said. I have 2 sons who are getting up in age. TJ is 13. Taylor is 10. TJ is a 7th grader now. And as the years go by, I definitely want to put a lot of time and work into him and make sure I give him the same opportunities I had. Boom. I think he just said he wants to help his son play in the NBA. That's pretty much what he said. Dennis Schröder has got pictures of him as the bag man coming in the game in Chicago last night. And there's a picture of him in warmups and a picture of him in the game itself. Jordan Nwora showing off his 3-point step back shot that was so successful. That was awesome. When he pulled that little step back 3 at the top of the key. And then him getting the 4-point play because he got fouled on it too. It was awesome. He's got pictures of him sitting on the ground smiling after hitting that 3. Jordan, you're becoming a fan favorite quick. There he is in the Buffalo or Orchard Park with the Buffalo fans as a Buffalo fan himself. Good stuff. Grady has got one of his Kansas friends on blast, Wilder Evers with a big dunk there. And let's see what else we got. Why is Malachi still wearing the Raptors red in his Instagram profile? I don't know. That's weird. Slim Duck, what does he have? Slim Duck has got some guy who's got a suit, and he's like showing his clothing. It's kind of hilarious. He's talking about how he got all his things, his OVO jersey, his chain, and all this stuff. And it's like really funny how he got it. Go watch Slim Duck's Instagram stories if you want to see that. They're pretty silly. Oh, happy birthday to Jalen McDaniels, by the way, guys. It's actually Jalen's birthday today, just so y'all know real quick. Let's see. Race Mode saying, thanks, Lexathon. Have a great day, everyone. Yeah, I'm almost done. 3 minutes. And Will Bester saying, Nuggets still got to West Finals with Carmelo and Chauncey. J.R. Smith and Nene. They were a good team. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. W Stream, thank you, Fiercey. I appreciate all y'all. Thanks for watching me. If you have a Yahoo Fantasy team in our Yahoo Fantasy League, please set up your basketball team. The competition is fierce in there for sure. And MK, you're going down. All right, y'all. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll be back tomorrow with a Thursday Think Tank call-in show. So have your phones ready. We'll be taking the calls live on the show and hearing your voices. If you're a member of this channel, you will have access to the phone number and the community tab on this channel website. So yeah, that's how you'll do it. If in some ways also on Facebook, I'm not able to get into the chat right now. So you guys will have to find the number from there. Or if you have the number from last week, you can use it all, of course, from there. All right, y'all, let's go Raptors. Keep your heads up high. We got that W. I've got the Marquise Noel Victory 24 light on today because we won. Light the beam, light the light is what I'm saying because we got a W. We won yesterday against the Bulls. Awesome. It's good for morale. It's good for team spirit. And it's good for learning and practicing winning NBA games. And that's what we're all about, baby. Raptors. Winning NBA games. Let's go, Raptors Freak family. Let's go Raptors, baby. Yeah, let's go Darko. Let's go Scotty. Let's go Gary.